All right, folks, 6:30. Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to announce the Union Township Board of Supervisors meeting for May 4th, 2023. Roll call. Detroit here. Warren here. Spar
here.
Parrish
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public comment?
All right, just for the record, you have 4 minutes to speak. We're going to keep it tight because we have about 11 people here. So keep in mind these magic words. Less is best, okay? All right. Who do we have first? Bernie Spears.
We did. Yeah, sometimes you have to talk right directly in the.
Just speak loud like I do.
Close your mouth. I'd like to discuss some issues that have created concerns with the direction of the voting majority of this board has taken. Regarding the purchase of security cameras, who made the decision on which vendor to purchase from, how many cameras to purchase, the location of the cameras, the type of the cameras, and who's going to be able to view the feed from the cameras? It's been stated that additional quotes should have been sought, but were not. Concerning the liquid fuels distribution, it was stated that there was $600,000 available in liquid fuels. I may be mistaken, but I thought the township was reimbursing the general fund for the Cold Bluff Road project. Wouldn't this transfer reduce the amount available for additional projects? Only 3 roads were noted during the last meeting as to the paving projects for this year. Are there any additional roads paved because they've not been named? The liquid fuels funds are not only for paving projects. Those funds can be used for payment of purchases of road salt, aggregate, hot patch, cold patch, as well as equipment. Have we considered purchasing new vehicles, inasmuch as our newest truck is about 8 years old, which is considered old in municipalities, and their replacement should be of great concern for not only the safety of our road department, but reliability. Another concern is the failure to pursue the location of the missing laptop. It has been said at past meetings that the location of that laptop would be available through a search warrant, yet we have not authorized a search warrant, and I'd like to know why. Lastly, I'd like to speak regarding the termination of Karen Stroop. I know a lot has been said, but not everything. As you know, Karen volunteered when the prior board abandoned the taxpayers of Union Township in October of 2022. She worked 5 days a week for 2 months without pay. She was then put on the payroll for liability reasons and representing Union Township. She stepped down after training one of the new employees hired. Unfortunately, that employee was discharged. Over the weekend after her discharge, Karen got a phone call and immediately shut up the next business working day without hesitation to help out again with the township. And within 3 weeks, she was informed that her services were no longer needed. I cannot imagine what she could have done that was so egregious that she was dismissed. She was not given the courtesy of a meeting to discuss why the majority members of this board thought she may have done something inappropriate. You made a decision based on information provided that may have been inaccurate, but how would you know since you never asked?
Okay, thank you. The next person is Mr. John Seiler.
On your table, you'll see a spreadsheet. I'm here speaking for Peters Creek. And joint meetings that we had with the board here and Peters Creek board, we said we would keep the residents informed of the progress of that project. And so the spreadsheet you have is currently up on the Peters Creek website. You go to their website, you go to news, you click on news, you'll see Finleyville Arena stage extension, and you will see the spreadsheet you have in front of you. That spreadsheet will be updated monthly after our board meetings, and you'll see it has the projected timeline, duration, what's planned, what the design and construction task is. On the right-hand side, you will see what has been done, where we're at. So that's our plan as far as keeping everybody informed of where things are at. And this is being prepared by our engineers, LSSC. The second item I'd like to talk about is the Steam Road Bridge. Last week you were mailed a copy of the Steam Road emergency plan.
I think I sent that to everybody, didn't I, folks?
Yes. Okay. And the removal of that bridge is extremely important to us because without that bridge there, we're limited and we cannot get to about a mile of pipe and a metering station. And just think about this, all the sewage from Peters, Nottingham, a little bit of North Strabane, Finleyville Borough, and Union Township all flow through that pipe. So if there's a break, or a blockage, it would be a big problem. So the board decided that we needed to be proactive in this, and that's why we put this emergency plan together. If you look at it, you'll see it's more than just an emergency plan. The back end is an engineering document that the engineers prepared. The front end has a lot of text, and it says what the problem is, why we think it's a problem, how we're going to handle it in an emergency, and hopefully there's never an emergency. But we also want to use this, or you use it with us, in hopefully getting additional monies, grants, and so on. And if you'll look at the list of who this was sent to, and I'm just going to run through it real quick. So it went to the North Strabane Township Supervisors, Finleyville Borough, Nottingham, Peters Council, Union Township Board of Supervisors. Our neighbors in South Park, Jefferson, because they're right next to us. They're part of our system. Mr. Kuzma's office, Ms. Barlotta's office, Ms. Marilyn Hillick's office, Tim O'Neill, Washington County Planning Commission, Washington County Emergency Coordinator, Union Township Emergency Coordinator, Solicitor for Washington County, Clinton Municipal Authority, PA Department of Environmental Protection, and also I believe the Washington Commission. So,
Just for the record, I know we've got about 1 minute left to go, but just want to mention that I saw something on the township website, PSAT's website, something about some type of grant monies that might be available for roads and all that. You get the PSATs every day?
Yeah.
Look at Monday or Tuesdays.
Third gravel, low volume roads.
No. It's something I just saw the other day. It's through the government. Look at Monday or Tuesday's email from PSATs. It talks about grants for roadways and things and stream restoration. So take a look at that, and that might be something you can work with. We can work with you to help put that bridge back in. Okay?
Yeah, like I said, our board wants to work with you guys and doing something. Okay, and again, I hope we never have to use this plan, but you never know. Better be prepared.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
And tell Peters Creek Sanitary thank you as well for all the hard work they did on El Remo Road's storage project.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sauter. Donna Safco. Darla, I'm sorry. I guess in the
Darla Safka, 68 Acre Road.
All right.
I just have on two of the discussion items. It's the discuss EQT lease and possible sale. I just want to make sure, like, if you guys are looking to sell this, if you're going to get an actuary.
Well, okay. Let me just tell you. I think I sent emails to the township about that the other day. If we sell oil and gas rights, first of all, we'd have to have it appraised. Second of all, we would have to go through a bidding process underneath the code itself. So we can't just say we're going to sell it to, Carla Mader or sell it to, whoever. So we'd have to go through a process.
It doesn't happen to be sitting there.
I just wondered, like, if you'd have to get an actuary to
Not an actuary.
future like leases and royalties?
You'd have to get an appraiser, not an actuary.
Okay.
Okay, and again, I told somebody the other day, I was told about 10 years ago or 7 years ago that the oil and gas rights back then were worth $25,000 an acre. Okay. Second of all, any EQT lease, I think I already said something to the board. I spoke to Mr. Seiler, called me. I've been going back and forth. I think I sent you guys all copies of the lease from Mr. Seiler of EQT. It's something to take a look at, but I think we just got that last week, so I need to take a look at that.
Okay, and then the other one was the Washington 911 request for a cell tower.
I got it. Okay, I'll give talk to Mr. Justin Shawley of the Washington. He called me today. Justin Shawley of the Washington County Public Safety. He called me today. I expressed my concerns about a number of different things. One, I told him, I said, you need to have your solicitor look at that deed, because that deed is all these different encumbrances. So what we need, I told him to look at the deed, because you can't dig here, you can't do this. That's the first thing. That's the first thing you have to worry about. Second thing you have to worry about is we need to know where the location, that site, that whatever's going to be, if we go through with it. Third, I said we need a stronger indemnification clause, and if we do a lease, they're going to have some type of insurance, namely the township as a additional insured. So those are different things. But he told me also today, he called me up sometime this afternoon. He said basically that he had tried to talk to the previous board, they basically just didn't do anything.
We're talking about Maple Avenue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was talking to George because, on the Powell Farm, there's already a cell tower there.
Well, they're doing this because I did this over at Hanover Township, which I represent. They have a park they have a park right next to it. The township is going through the process, or has already approved putting some type of cell tower communication up there. It's basically for police services and so forth, public safety.
What does theirs on the Powell Farm? Does that already have 911?
I have no idea.
So, because I was talking to George a little bit, and like he said, that's through Crown Castle, so there might already be something there.
I don't know. All I know is I told Mr. Shalley today, I said, there's a lot of issues we need to work out before we do anything.
And you need to find out if the cell tower that's already there is already capable, or do they just need to add something to it and not even go this route?
Okay. Answer your questions?
Yep, that's
right,
it.
Thank you. All right, the next person is Tom Hart.
My name's Tom Hart. I live at 11 Lake Drive, Finleyville. I'm concerned about the sale and lease of the township property to EQT. I don't know who approached who to start this discussion, but I believe that we should think long and hard before we use any township land for oil or gas. I am guessing you're thinking of the Nike site. Is that?
No, I think the lease, something about Joe Montana Bridge is like 0.9 acres there.
Right.
Okay.
That's what the other.
The lease to EQT is 0.9 acres by Joe. See what parcel he's talking about.
Are they talking about a well pad or underground?
You can't if you have 0.9 acres, you can't put a well pad. It's almost
Okay,
impossible.
that's good to hear, but I would think long and hard about what you're doing without consulting the residents of the township. I hope this does not turn into an authoritarian board like the last one we had. I hope you listen to the people in the township and have a lot of meetings before you go forward on any fracking activities.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
understand. Thank you, sir. The next one is Carla Maynard and Tony. Are you guys together?
Yeah.
Because we have a big meeting tonight, we'll take one of you because you both be talking about the same thing. All right?
All right, I'll be 2 minutes. You can wrap it up.
Yeah, first time I was in this building, was it August 2020 or 2021?
2020.
2020, I had to, to be honest, this place had enough tension. It felt like a war zone in this place a couple years ago, and the atmosphere feels better. And I want to thank the supervisors. Being public service is not an easy job. It's a sacrifice, and I just want to thank you guys for the work you guys stepped in and did. And so I wanted to thank you, and I also wanted to read Article 1, Section 20
of the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Constitution, which applies to all the townships. And it basically says it's the right of the people to address and to petition and bring remonstrance to our local officials. And like this gentleman here, he came up and he wanted to say, hey, we hope you hear us. And it's like, you know what, we get the government we deserve, guys. And it's better to communicate and not create a war. And, like I said, I was serving criminal emoluments. I was an agent for E-Clause, and we ended up going to federal court in here, and it doesn't have to be that way. And it seems like it's a different atmosphere here, and there's going to be disagreements. I'm here to encourage you guys, and I wanted to thank this board for stepping in and taking care of some tough business. So I'll let my sister wrap up the remaining time. But thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Sir.
All right, thank you. Carla Mader, 65 Cardox Road. And I came tonight also to bring the petition and just speak. I wanted to wait till things calm down. I wanted to thank all the current board for all your hard work and picking up the pieces. It's been a tumultuous 2.5 years. And I want to thank everybody in the township that, stepped up and did our part with oversight. And my story is quite long, and in the interest of time, I won't go into it. But I moved into my house in June of 2018, and immediately was met with questions about gas lines and my horses, and my certain neighbors didn't get a chance to bid on the property. I was completely ignorant of what was going on in the township, which was certain people were having their property seized by the former board for septic issues. So we passed our initial septic test, and then when I wanted to close a week before closing in August, the board became quite aggressive and demanding another septic test, in which I believe it was Half-Check had come out and pumped, 2 truckfull loads of water into the system. There was nothing wrong with the system. It was never a public health threat, but they said it was blocked. So at any rate, the township demanded a $43,000 escrow a week before I was closing on my home. So at any rate, we got everything together. We closed on the house. We could not get the new septic in because of the winter. And we ended up, the former board, I went before them after 6 months to explain that their authority, the Washington Sewer Authority, Sanitary Authority, would not dig or allow my contractor to dig. But the incompetent board at that time said I should have been able to, and they proceeded to try to vacate me from my home and told me they would have a sheriff come and escort me out of my home. So we fought with some lawful notification letters. They were going to use my escrow for legal fees, and then asked me how I was going to pay for it, and threatened to call my insurance company, my mortgage company. So it was really retaliatory. And we got our escrow back, we got the septic in, and about a year later, when they were doing the road project, we were told it was by a really young Representative Harshman, it was so trucks could pass on the road. They approached my husband. We got 3 easement agreements, and none of them were making any sense. And I went to the township, I called them and said, well, I just want to know what you're doing. And I didn't get any answers or any response. So we knew that there was something up. So I came to a meeting and put the board on notice that, we were going to be investigating and finding out, and for violating rights back from when the whole septic issue happened. And this is just an abbreviated version, but we ended up going to federal court, and in retaliation, the former board filed 3 state court cases against me, so I had to learn the law and become an attorney overnight. So for 2.5 years, I fought 4 to 6 law firms at any given time, and was called a troublemaker by some neighbors just because I was protecting my property. They wanted to take a 1/4 acre and dump stormwater and straighten out Cardox Road on my property. So we fought to protect our property. It was our right. And we went into the 3rd Circuit Court, even though we didn't prevail on the civil rights violations, which we believe we didn't get justice. I believe we won because they never touched the property and they all resigned. And I want to thank everybody again in the township who stepped forward, and witnesses. But I'm here today just to, bring this petition with grievance for all the injury, harm, and loss and move forward. We don't want to cost the taxpayers any more litigation. It said the former board spent about $500,000 fighting me when all they had to do was talk, that they prefer to use litigation over communications.
Ms. Bader, I'm sorry, get your close
Yeah.
to time.
Yeah, so I'll just finally say that we want to work towards a resolution to settle everything and to have the board safely finish the road project, and we're willing to cooperate with the board to get that accomplished.
All right, thank you, Ms.
Thanks for
Bader.
your time.
All right, thank you very much. Christine May.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christine May. Many of you may know me. We set out to purchase the Phase 3 subdivision of the Shire Plan in 2021. We came to the board at that time to ask that the 10 lots that we were attempting to purchase be consolidated into one. We received approval on that. Little did we know, there were $500,000 in liens against the property. We had to go through quiet title action, which took up until April of this year. A lot of money and a lot of time. We now own the property. We also purchased additional lots through Union Township that had been sitting in a repository sale. When we got approval to roll the 10 lots into one, the other lots weren't included in that because we didn't know if we were going to be able to acquire those. We've been calling the township, myself, my husband, our surveyor. We've gone to Michelle Dupree. We've left messages. Our surveyor seems to believe that our previous approval can be amended and those additional lots can be added in, or can they? That's why I'm here. I need answers.
Sure.
So to clarify, Harold, this is the lady that I said stopped by my business on Sunday, and I went through the whole, everything that she's been doing.
Are you Mr. Ivory?
I'm Mr. Ivory.
You helped us in Canonsburg, 137 West Pike Street. Did a remodel in 2018. You know my husband, Jeb. Thank you for your help on that.
So maybe the best thing to
So
do.
I did bring them all up to date and pulled some
Okay, yeah, it's a
files
very
and
long
stuff.
story.
It is a very long
story
story.
short, all we want to do is build a house and throw some tax money this way. But we can't do it until we get approval to consolidate.
Harold, can you help her out?
I sure can.
Okay, just, you have his phone number?
My husband left you a message, I think, this afternoon.
All right, so so what I'm saying to you,
Okay,
just talk to him, you work through him.
okay. How do we know if it can be amended? Will you have the
He'll tell you,
answers?
he'll tell you.
Okay,
You're probably gonna have to go through the consolidation process.
again,
Well, I don't know what they put you through.
through
But-
hell. And all of us sitting here can attest to that. Not to mention, I do have one other question. Speaking of that, when we purchased the additional 5 lots, we went through paying all the fees. We paid legal fees twice because the board changed hands. It was thousands of dollars that cost us because of that. We were charged for occupancy permits on the first 10 lots. When we went to purchase the 5, we were told, yeah, empty vacant land that's dirt, that's not even buildable until we develop it. We paid $1,000. It was $100 per lot.
Who charged you that? Harshman?
Brandy, no, Brandy,
Brandy's
somebody
gonna
else.
be
It's
Harshman.
Is that Harshman? Okay, I don't even know. Now, we were told, because we paid it again for the 5 and they refunded our money. They said, you don't owe that. Okay, well, we paid that. I'd like to get my $1,000 back because we were charged unjustly.
I don't know anything about it. I think to do is work through him.
How do I get my money back?
First of all, I'm not gonna say we're gonna give your money back, but if you're right, we'll make it right. But you need to work through him and he'll make a recommendation.
Okay, I don't think anyone sitting here would feel it's fair to pay that if that wasn't a fee that should have been charged to us.
Do you know the month that you?
Yes, we applied in,
I mean, the checks for the occupancy permits?
it would have been, let me see if that's on, 10/14/2021.
2021?
Yes, that's how long it took to get through quiet title.
That's whenever they did their consolidation or whatever.
Yeah, we got approval on all of that.
So what Ms. May, I'm suggesting to you is talk to Harold. Harold and TJ and I will communicate, and Harold will be the point person, okay?
Okay, so we feel this can be expedited because our house is plotted like we'd like to get moving.
It's you and him initially, then we'll do our best to get you worked out, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next person is Albert Powell. Albert Powell? I was looking for George. I thought that was George going to talk. It's not, I guess.
Albert Powell, 96 Gilmore Road.
How come he looks better looking than you?
There's a lot of order in there.
That's L-I-N.
I wanna know if you can move the road close sign at the end of Gilmore, move it back a little bit from the end of the road and lower it. It's like 9 foot high now, and I looked and it says sign should be like 7 foot off the asphalt. But put a sign on there too that says no throughway. Cars fly down that road, fly up in my driveway, and they go all the way out almost into the field before they realize they're not on a road anymore.
Wow.
But like when you turn in, you can't hardly see the road close sign because it's so high. But if you move back from the roads, from the main road some, and lower it, maybe it'll stop the traffic on it.
Mean back toward Senegal River?
No, move it away from Senegal Ring a little bit, because it's like right out at the end now.
Right.
And it's kind of high. When you turn in, if you ain't paying attention, you don't see it.
And there's other signs.
And there's other signs, like it's all the way at the top, and there's other signs underneath it. Where they can lower it and like put a no throughway sign or something on there.
Yeah, no outlet, right.
Yeah, even trailer trucks come down there.
Yeah, can you look into that?
Yeah, I'll take care of it with the road from.
Actually, when we had the drainage issue in Gilmore, I went up to go, and then before I knew it, it was just there. Because I'm not that familiar with that road.
Yeah, and people come
And we
flying
had that
down there.
drainage issue there that I thought I'd go look at, and all of a sudden I was just at that sign, and I probably turned around in your driveway because I was just like all of a
Well, you
sudden
might
it
have
was
turned around
there.
down at the end, but people drive all the way up in the driveway.
Oh,
Like all the way up to the house.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Adam Stasko.
Hello, my name is Alan Stasco. I live at 16 Railroad Street. Railroad Street, that's on this end. So the other board, we had an issue with the railroad company and the roads on the railroad's property, and we're vice versa. The railroad company hogged out, and our roads are literally falling off the hillside. A couple of years ago, they decided to put roughly 24,000 pounds of these concrete blocks on it to retain the hillside from vibrating off any further. Long story short, we're having major water issues on the road. The road is getting worse daily. After that last rainstorm, I mean, I could probably flood 50 ducks down there and let them live. And more, we've had a couple of the stems removed from the road crew, I believe 2 or 3, still leaving maybe 9 to 11 left, if I had to guess. And 3 of them are about to fall back onto the railroad property.
Didn't we look at that? Didn't you guys look at that?
We
small
had
map?
Yeah, so we went out there and did a site visit 6 weeks ago or so now, I don't remember the exact date, and then followed up with a letter with our observations and recommendations for how we want to proceed with that. So
do you mind if he calls you about that?
yeah, we spoke about it earlier this week. I recommended that
This
he come.
gentleman?
Yeah, Adam and I spoke earlier this week. I recommended that he come.
So my runoff, my sump pump goes across to that tracks. All the houses drain over on that side. Back in the 80s, roughly, it's been since our road has ever been resurfaced, ever. From the best of my knowledge, it's brought a little machine and started blacktopping roads. Never milled it, blacktopped on it. Now the road, and I know I actually had a gentleman from Peters Creek Sanford come down. Rick
Kovac,
we pulled manhole covers to see how many collars are put on it. There's roughly 7 to 9 inches of collars on that road that is super raised. Now my runoff and everything is literally trapped on my house. I get more water in my basement. Not that my basement was ever dry, but it is progressively worse.
So what is he requesting?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason for your initial call was you're looking at potentially piping underneath the road there, road opening permit to install your roof drain culvert, install your sump pump culvert.
So I don't think this was ever brought to any of your attention. So the last board or whatever, I spoke a couple, Lawson to be exact, felt as though it just smoked straight up the pipe for that one. I believe they're the ones who put the concrete blocks on there. If I'm not mistaken, they're 2 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot high. I kind of got a good guess they're about a ton each. There's 12 on the road. We put 24,000 pounds. I'm not an engineer, but it didn't seem right. And the road's literally just washing away more and more and more.
He said, if I recall, you mentioned something about it crushed. There was a pipe.
Right, so
it's not putting a pipe in. It's just that he believes that these things crushed.
One fell
now
over.
Bringing water back into his.
Whether it was hit by something or it fell over, it literally hit my runoff for my sump pump. And that's when I restarted talking to PJ about, can we cut this road? Can I get my runoff back to where it was existing? If I put it on the road, we're gonna have a massive problem.
What do you recommend, TJ?
Well, I'd like to look specifically at the condition of his pipes. The reason I asked Adam to come today was so that we could talk about it as a group, and then, I wanted to make sure it was out in the open and have permission from the board to go out there
Does anyone have
and
a
look at
problem
his
with?
situation. So.
I have a question about that, TJ. Why can't those barriers, we'd have to probably deal with the railroads, remove them barriers and just have guideposts put down in there and just put the panels up along there so they're not sticking out into the road and everything too. But if you could just drive them down into maybe like 8-foot poles down in there, I don't know if the railroad will let you do that. They're tough to deal with.
The right of way is tight. Anything we do along that border would have to be done in communication with the railroad.
And you need to written proof.
There's a file in the as-built room or whatever. There was some negotiations with the railroad. The railroad was gonna do certain things. They wanted the township to participate to a certain amount of money. The township then, they had a Zoom call or meeting with the railroad company. The railroad wanted them to pay it 50% of this engineering fee. They decided it wasn't worth it, and they didn't pay it. And then the railroad, the railroad was like, they were going to put a gabion wall or something there. They were actually going to fix it, but the township, the negotiations broke down after they had some sort of conference call with a guy in California, and when they got a bill for the conference call for the guy in California and didn't pay it, the railroad.
I was here for that meeting when they set aside, I believe it's $3,000 to talk to some gentleman in California, and nothing ever since then was ever done to the road, except for concrete walks on it. If you can imagine this being the railroad's end, that road is falling from here.
There is a whole game plan of what the railroad was going to do.
Well, I think there used to be vegetation there, which was part of the problem when they eliminated the vegetation, that destabilized the hillside and it started to slide. So sounds like a complicated issue.
You can see where that's been.
Okay, so does the board have any problem with TJ working with them? And Steve, you want to get on it also?
No, I'll be done.
All right, so Chuck, any problem with them doing that? Larry? Chuck?
Nope, none whatsoever.
Okay.
I'd like to be.
What's that?
I'd like to be there, so if I can know when these are.
It's going to cost you $10 to be there.
That's absolutely fine. That's why I can get it fixed.
Adam, I'll coordinate with Steve and then give you a call.
Okay.
I actually located the gentleman from California's number and so forth, and I put it in the file, so he might have some more documentation.
I think sooner than later we should reach out to the railroad and start to get their.
They're tough to deal with.
Actually, they looked like they were being pretty reasonable. When they didn't get their payment for their part of their engineering, they went no further.
TJ did come, he looked at a couple of them, and the ones that were teetering really bad, they did have removed. I assumed that we were removing them all. When the road crew came down, they said they were removing 2, they ended up removing 3, because one was at the end of my driveway, which I grazed with my bumper with my truck and was not happy about. But if we can get the other ones that are about to fall over off, would be wonderful, or if not all of them, would be great. You drive up that road, it's bad.
All right. Let's just ask if they're going to work with you. We're going to keep moving on.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next one is Dr. Lori Canavian.
Lori Canavian, 6088 Brownsville Road Extension. This sounds really minor compared to some of the other issues, but it's election season, and if I'm not mistaken, the ordinance in this township, or at least I would think common sense would be that there are not any things for election.
Political signs?
The signs, yeah. Okay. On township property.
Not supposed to be on township property.
Brownsville Road, there have to be at least 6 to 9 signs on the Brownsville Veterans Park entrance to the driveway, and that's kind of my little pet peeve. I really don't like seeing that there. It's bad enough we have to see them everywhere else, and I feel that they need to be removed.
Okay. You talk to Elvis Bernasky about that?
I'll tell him.
All right.
I'll tell him tomorrow.
Okay, Pete Guido, last but not least, you got a couple minutes to go.
I see you're already on the agenda for discussion item.
Yes.
I can wait for that if you want.
Sure, let's do that. And I apologize for rushing people through, but we have a long meeting and I didn't want to be here another 45 minutes, okay? I apologize. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Approval of meeting minutes. Approval of the meeting minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of October 12th, 2022. I'll let you explain the complication.
Well, what happened was back then, that's when the previous board, I believe, resigned that. They were there for that meeting and then everyone resigned, the staff resigned, administration resigned, the solicitor, everyone resigned. So basically what we need to do is you can make a motion to approve those minutes based upon, based upon a review of the videos, I believe, of that meeting. And we'll put a caveat saying that none of you were there except for Michelle, but we'll make a motion to approve those minutes from October 12th, subject to the caveat that those minutes were done through a review of the videos of that meeting. Is that okay with everybody here?
I think some of you were here just as audience.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
Were you guys here for those?
they're on there.
Are they
Here
accurate?
as audience, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I had is a question on it, Dennis, is on the October 12th meeting, they had approved I think it was a rezoning for property.
Yes.
Now, in the minutes, it claims that has to be sent back at that time to the Washington Planning Commission. We need to follow up on that to see if that was ever done, or whether we
also
are
have-
accepting a rezoning that was not
We
completed.
also have an issue that the planning commission reviewed that and made their recommendations at the meeting that was only a half hour before that meeting. And those minutes aren't approved either. So you have I don't know if it was a rezoning, it was a consolidation or something.
Might have been a consolidation.
Is that what you're talking about, consolidation?
Yeah.
Well, if you have the zoning, you have, I think, you have 30 days to file the zoning amendment to the thing, but if it's a consolidation,
So the planning commission reviewed it and recommended it, the whatever, 5 o'clock meeting or whatever. And there's no meeting minutes from that meeting ever approved either, because of 2 of our
But the fact that it's
supervisors
supposed to
being.
be sent back to Washington Planning Commission, I need to know if it was ever done.
well, you can approve these, but if it wasn't done, it might invalidate the consolidation.
Okay.
If this motion was made at that meeting, it's still what was made.
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
approving what transpired,
But
to the
you
best
can-
of our knowledge, correct?
All
Correct.
right, so I'll have to follow up on that if we approve it.
Correct.
What do we do about the planning commission meeting minutes that same night?
So we're gonna have to.
We discussed that at our meeting, and Heather was the only one that was on.
Heather Docker.
Yes, and, now she wasn't at our last meeting, but we'll have to discuss that next week. Hopefully she'll be there. And, the same thing was discussed, that she needed to look at what the minutes were or what happened, and so we had to figure out how to get those approved too. So probably we'll have to do the same thing that you're doing.
That's the way to handle it, okay?
Another question, so there was some, I know it's just approving what happened that night, but there was some ordinances about stop signs and different stuff that never got put in the books. And never signed, never. So there was some resolutions.
Well,
and
if they
so
were,
forth
if they
that
were,
night.
if they were approved, all you have to do is make an we have to bring it up the next meeting, make an annotation saying this was approved and authorize a new chairman and his new secretary, treasurer, whoever, to execute those documents. That's what I've done in the past.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say, TJ?
I'm good.
Okay.
the resolutions and ordinances are here, they were just never signed by the chairman.
So then what we need to do is put that on the agenda for next meeting, list
Okay.
those resolutions, list those ordinances, and then the motion should be a motion to authorize the chairman and the secretary, treasurer, or whoever to execute and attest those resolution and those ordinances
That's
as being
at the
adopted
next meeting.
at the next meeting.
So are we tabling this until everybody gets a chance to look at,
No, I can approve, I saw it.
you were there?
Yeah, I saw the rest of the minutes. That was the only question I had.
I was where you're sitting now, so I'm good.
There's a thing in there too, Chuck, about the, if I could read it out of here. Motion was made by Lawson, second by Heather Dare to approve the Trax Farm subdivision condition
what
upon,
we
is
just talked
that the
about.
one you're talking about?
Yeah, consolidation, yes.
Okay.
That's what we were talking about.
It was
Oh, okay.
subdivision consolidation.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It said provided Washington County approved it, right, but did they? You're right.
We don't know if they ever got it.
But maybe they never got it either, right?
No.
Chuck's gonna check on it. He said.
Okay.
It only went in front of the planning commission at 5 o'clock. It came in front of the board of supervisors at 5:30.
Yeah, but it goes to the Washington County plan.
I get it.
too, but-
It had a half hour to get there, is what I'm saying.
Can someone give Chuck the follower to follow up on that?
Sure, I'll follow up.
So,
If we got it. I'll dig through what's left of the paper.
If we don't, I'll call them. They'll know if they
So,
approved it.
so we're ready to vote?
Yeah.
we need a motion first.
You were here in the audience.
Was I here?
You were here
I'll
in the
make that
audience.
motion that we vote to approve the minutes of October 12th, 2022.
Okay, I will second it.
So the motion is to approve the minutes from October 12th, 2022, authorizing the current chairman and current secretary treasurer to attest to those minutes. That's the motion, okay?
Okay, say that again.
Motion to approve the October 12th, 2022 minutes and to authorize the township chairman and secretary, treasurer, whatever, to attest to the same.
And this is based on your approval, Mr. Solicitor, right?
You wanna put that, and I just took them and regurgitated it.
Well,
Yeah, you're gonna put it, and as authorized, and is authored by the township solicitor.
Right.
So there was, draft notes from the old secretary. There was my notes, there was video, there was.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor.
Okay, roll call?
Dupree,
Yes?
Evansborn,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
motion
Who
carried.
made the second? I was second. Approve the meeting minutes from the regular scheduled supervisors meeting of April 18th, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Well, any second?
Second, Madam Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion by Wilson, a second by Spar. Roll call.
Dupree,
Abstain, I was not here.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evansborn,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay,
Trying to pick up time for you, Dennis.
Excuse me?
Trying to pick up some time for you there.
announcements? Anyone have an announcement? Anyone have an announcement? No? Okay. Township reports. If you don't mind, DJ, would it be okay to take the police report so that,
Please, that'd be great.
Police officer?
I know he's probably got his partner in the car and he's got,
Yeah, we gotta take care of the
he's got
partner.
a town to patrol.
Our April report, approximately 1,826 miles patrolled using 139.5 gallons of gas, answering 81 calls for service, 4 vehicle accidents, 4 alarm calls, 2 public service assists, 12 requests to assist the EMS and fire department, 6 check welfare requests, 4 reports of suspicious activity, 2 theft reports, 4 domestics and disturbances. There was 2 criminal complaints filed, 5 traffic citations, criminal charges. There was 1 DUI, there was 1 resisting arrest, there was 1 terroristic threat, and there was a non-traffic charge for harassment.
Busy month.
Yeah.
Any
questions for us?
How's Mitch's call?
He's good. He's good.
Good.
Yeah, he's good. He's doing all right.
Anybody else have any questions for the officer?
Do you
Thank
guys
you.
have a copy of this?
I do not. I thought this was it, but it was the Alrima. I'll make everyone a copy if you guys didn't get one. Thank
No,
you.
not again.
Okay. Engineers report.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Our office submitted our written engineers report yesterday. I see that items 1, 2, and 4 from my report are covered on the agenda elsewhere, so I'm going to skip over those for now and talk about number 3, which is the Finleyville-Rama Road Sewage Project. I had a conference call yesterday with Lennon Smith to talk about their progress with the design. They're moving ahead steadily with the layout for the lift station and the gravity collection system. So one thing we discussed that I wanted to bring up tonight was a possible joint meeting on June 20th to talk about the design as a group with the Peters Creek Sanitary Board and the supervisors and the public, to go over their layout, their designs, and their draft Act 537 plan amendment, which is the first step in getting this project off the ground. So the 20th is the date of the second supervisors meeting in June. So I figured we could do something similar to what we did in February, where we meet together before the regularly scheduled meeting. But if that's something that the board's open to, I'll touch base with Lennon Smith and we can work to schedule that. Second update on Finleyville-Rama Road project. I'm not sure if you saw or not, but Senator John Fetterman included our project in his list of projects to be recommended for federal funding under the STAG program to Congress. So this is encouraging. It's not money in the bank yet, but when Congress meets to finalize the 2024 budget at the end of the year, hopefully this project will remain included. He did recommend it for the full amount, which was $874,000, which, if that goes the distance, we come pretty close to having a fully funded sewer project up there. So that's good news. And then the other item on my engineer's report I wanted to call attention to was under the grading permit summary. Our office got a few complaints regarding the Finleyville Airport grading permit for their sewer project. Some of the excavations that were taking place up there. I know Harold stopped by and looked into this. Our office put a letter out to the supervisors yesterday with some recommendations, requests for additional information from the airport to kind of confirm their backfill, their compaction, and the stability of their excavation, since that was called into question. So we can talk about how we want to follow up with the airport about that. If you'd like us to reach out, we certainly can. If it's better coming from the solicitor's office, that's fine as well. But I think we should touch base with the airport and get this additional information, since they've deviated from what we approved on their grading permit. So, like I said, the other items can wait. So that's all I had.
So with the airport, they deviated on the grading permit. That's all the reason.
Yeah. So they excavated the trench for the sewer project considerably closer to some of the hangar buildings than what they showed on their original drawings. The original drawing showed 40 feet of horizontal separation from the edge of the hangar building to the center line of where their trench was going to go. And I've had some
20 feet
conversations with Harold, and it's been considerably closer, and it's on a, not a steep slope, but a grade. And there's some concern, I guess, about the stability of that slope. So their drawings that they submitted to us for a permit had notes on there that required a professional engineer be there when the compaction occurred, backfill and compaction occurred, and they're supposed to follow up to the township with compaction test reports that state that this was done properly and that it was, the area stabilized. So I think we, at a minimum, should reach out to the airport to get that information.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm so into his report. I'm off my agenda. Supervisor reports. You guys have a report?
No, I just have some comments I want to make, Michelle, or some inquiries as we move along the agenda.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do the same thing. I might reserve mine till towards the end. Let's see what time we have.
Okay. Anyone here from the Alrima Fire Department?
He didn't give it.
We
to me.
have a report though.
He said he sent one out.
He did indeed. Okay, new business. Discussion and motion to open bids for road materials and fuel.
All right, we got a bunch of bids here, or proposals. The first one is from Interstate Pipe and Supply Company. Here's the proposal, but it's not signed. So if it's not signed or sealed, I can't consider it. Right. I mean, it's.
Well, you can.
I think he has a quotation. He has a quotation. It says, "Thank you, Jesse Sulla." But is this a proposal we sent out to these folks?
Is that for the guardrail or is that for the fuel?
We bid on plastic smooth bore culvert pipe, $2,230. Did we request
cross drain pipe, 15-inch cross drain pipe.
Why did he, if it's only that?
Well, I don't know, if that's not signed, then it shouldn't be.
You can't, but it's not responsive,
Not.
so we can't consider that.
No.
Just for the record, bids always need to be signed. You know, if they're not signed, it's considered not responsive. You can't consider them. The next is from Heidelberg Materials. Collinsville, signed and sealed. %10 bid bond. Heidelberg, Heidelberg, to put MAT. All right, they've been on a bunch of things. 100 tons of R3 delivered. 31.32 per unit. Total 3,132, $3,132. For number 4, R4s, 150 tons. 31.12. We're not using forms here, are we? Like we do elsewhere.
Not yet.
Well, I'll get you next time we do bids. We'll get you like a format how to do this.
How many tons?
150 tons. The thing to do is the unit price delivered is 31.32. Total is 4,698. For 100 tons of R5 unit, 3.32. Total 3,332. 100 tons of R6 delivered unit 35.07. Total 3,507. 100 tons of R7 37.82 unit delivered. Total 3,782. 100 tons of R8 unit delivered. 40.07. Total 4,007. 100 tons of number ASHTO 8, just put number 8. Unit delivered 47.82. Total is 4,782. 150 tons of number 57s. Unit delivered 30.32. Total 4,548. 200 tons of 67s. Number 67. 31.32 per unit delivered. Total is 6,264. 2,264. Number 200 tons of number 4s delivered unit 30.32. Total is 6,064. 300 tons of number 2A 24.32 per unit. 24.32 per unit. Total is 7,296. No, they did not bid on the pipe. This was not sealed, by the way.
It's not.
No, was it supposed to be sealed?
It was sealed. I think it just moved from being put in and out of the.
No, the gummy is not sealed at all.
Oh.
You see it, Linda? Not sealed.
Yeah, just this part.
But it has to be sealed. They bid on
Who are these people?
Sprague. They should know better.
Sprague.
Sprague. I'm just, again, you can't, if it said to be sealed, you really can't consider it. So,
Not sealed.
must be Steve's fault. He did all this stuff.
I got big shoulders, then I can hang on.
Alright, the next one is from Arcosa Aggregates. I never heard of them before.
Did you spell that?
ARCOSA. You ever hear of them?
I actually saw an invoice for them before. I don't know what to use them for, but I did see an invoice.
Signed.
Sealed and delivered.
It's all, if it's not signed, you really can't.
I get it. Is it signed? Is it sealed?
It's
Is
signed.
it been delivered in time?
Never sent bid bond. They do almost everything. All right.
I can make a copy of that right there.
We're fine.
Okay.
You have to announce them. Read them out. R3 is 100 tons. 27.00. 27.00 per unit. 0.00 per unit. Total 2,700. 150 tons of R4. 29.00. Total 4,350. R5 is 100 tons. 31.00. Total 3,100. R6 100 tons. 33.00. Total 3,300. R7 100 tons. 43.00. Total 4,300. 43.00. Total 4,300. 100 tons of number 8s. 38.00. Total 3,800. 150 tons of number 57. 27.00. Total 4,050. 200 tons of 67. 27.50. Total is 5,500. 200 tons of number 4. They have it right after that today. They have parentheses 467. What the hell does that mean? It has 27.00. Total is 5,400. For 300 tons of 2A.
3A.
2A.
2A.
24.00. Total is 7,200.
That all?
Not yet.
I mean, from that
That's it.
particular
That's
bit.
it. That's enough.
Yeah. Fuel and
They do on fuel, but they don't feel that. They didn't feel that.
yeah, I understand. I'm just
And the first one didn't sign. The next one is from Ligonier Stone and Lime Company. I've never heard of them either.
What company you said, Jim?
Ligonier Stone and Lime Company. I don't think. Have you heard of them?
Actually,
No, I have used.
I mean, I deal a lot of
The one you just mentioned was down near West Virginia border, just north of Cheat Lake on 43.
Next one is it's signed by Ligoniers, whoever. Bid Vaughn. All right. Now what they're doing, they're bidding on 100 tons of R3. And you guys, Steve, you want it delivered.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, delivered is 28.94 per unit. Total is 2894.00. 150 tons of R4s. 28.94 delivered. Total is 4,341. 4,341. The next one is 100 tons of R5s delivered. 31.51. Total is 3,151. The next is 100 tons of R6. Total is delivered is 31.51. Total is 3,151.00. 100 tons of R7s. Unit 34.09. Total is 3,409. And finally, 100 tons of R8s. 3,609.00. So just, you get that?
You didn't give me the unit.
The unit's 36.09. Total is 3,609. They have, you can pick it up at the plant, it's usually half the price, but you don't want to do that.
No, we'll have it delivered. We'll all.
You'll spend more time beating up your
Right.
trucks and everything else. Finally, Chem Oil Company.
Who was it, Deb?
Chem, the people we use now.
You
Chem
talking
oil.
KEHM. I never, have you heard of them?
That's
It's gotta be
who-
for fuel.
Yeah,
For fuel.
it's, they deliver
the
all
company that
gas
delivers
and
now.
things like that.
Signed and sealed. Bring crackers for me?
What have we done?
Did you bring crackers for me?
Yeah, a whole box of them after. You might want to use them after this meeting, so.
Alright, 10% bid one. Okay. 3,500 gallons of diesel fuel. Delivered, I guess you'd want, right, Steve?
Yeah, delivered, right.
They have FOB planned. Alright, unit delivered 2.7614. Total is 9,664.9. Next one is 6,000 gallons of gasoline delivered. 2.7468 unit. 2.7468. I know it's taking a lot of stuff here.
You cleared the room. These kids have really cleared the room.
Total.
Should do this every meeting.
Total is 16,480.8. Then it has prices. It's Opus that we always talk about. Prices are from Opus,
right?
And change daily. Delivery rate does not change. They have a delivery freight rate. This is also actually very bottom. It says 226,145.70. So they're going to charge you additional to that situation.
Per delivery?
It says, I open these up almost every month. At this time, I open every
And what's the total on that?
26,145. I never heard of that before.
It looks like that's the total of these two though.
It could be that too.
That looks like those two numbers equal that, and that says delivered or I don't know. Because this
that
says
is the
freight,
total. Yeah, that is
freight line, rate line.
All right.
I was
Okay.
like $26,000 on freight. I can't imagine. And then
Doesn't make
PJ
sense.
goes each delivery
Per trip.
per trip.
Well, it's a total, but it has delivery freight rate down
But
there.
it has a line there as if nothing. I think the line just means like a dash, like, as if it's nothing.
All right. So we.
Would you agree that's what that?
Oh, this one. I meant to grab this one.
All right.
So
So
these two equal
Can I-
this. He was reading this as if it said
Double
delivery,
line
but I
is
think
double.
that, yeah. Double line means total. So the freight,
Yeah,
the freight is not, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Well, I'm
know,
just
like,
saying. I'm just saying.
Maybe Steve, go ahead and pull it.
well,
So
that's the double line in accounting means total.
I'm not an accountant.
Either, but just, you know, double line in accounting.
All right.
means
So okay. Do you want to? We have one bid for diesel fuel and gasoline. And you have one. It's not. Do you want to make a motion to reject the bids? For diesel and gas.
I would reject them because
You want just because you can get a better price?
because I wouldn't go by just one bid.
Well, right now, price is $3.79 at the pump for gasoline. Did you say the unit price on the gas was what, 2.7?
2.7468. But keep in mind, it's based upon the Opus. It fluctuates.
Everything fluctuates, Dennis, even the pump.
So, Mr. Parrish is making a motion to reject any and all bids concerning diesel and gas. Is that your motion? Based on the fact you think the price is too.
Okay.
Maybe we can reach out to someone.
No, you have to advertise.
I know, but maybe like also let some other companies know we advertise.
All right. So, Mr. Parrish made a motion to reject those bids. Is there, now you have to have a second. Just for the fuel. We're talking about gas and diesel. Now you have to have a second.
Okay, any seconds? For
What, you're gonna rebid?
Diesel and gas.
gas
Oil
and
gas.
diesel, yeah.
That's it.
Mr. Parrish made the motion.
Was that a second from you?
No,
Is there any
I want
second?
a little bit of consideration.
We need a
What-
second before we can discuss, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So anyone wanna second Mr. Parrish's motion to reject the diesel and gas bid as?
My question is, why would they send us that particular price if it's gonna vary every day?
That's what they always do.
So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You could go out and, we need something where they lock the
We can't
price
have a
in.
conversation unless there's a second.
All right, I'll second the conversation.
Okay, let the conversation begin. All right, we have a first by Mr. Parrish and a second by Mr. Spar. Discussion.
Charlie, what was your point?
No, it's just if they're not going to guarantee us the price, I don't see what the purpose is of taking a particular bid. If they were saying, we'll guarantee the first 6,000 at that price, I say, great, let's take a look at that bid. But they aren't even gonna guarantee us our first gallon at that particular price.
I
So
think
what's
most of
the
them
purpose
do
of
it
the
at
bid?
that, so that if it goes lower, you pay lower, if you know, like.
It's not going lower. We
No,
all know
you don't
that.
know.
That's $1 below your pump price. Don't look at it ever going lower.
What are the chances we're gonna get a second bid? Why wouldn't any other company out there?
Well, there was another on there, Larry, but it was open, so they would have to reseal it.
So there was one submitted that was open.
Correct. It wasn't right.
One that was not.
Dennis, even though it
can't
was
really-
open, could you tell us what they were looking at?
What's that?
Even though that bid wasn't open? Or we cannot accept it?
It was
You
open, it
can't
was never
accept
sealed,
it.
it was never
It's not-
sealed.
There's two aspects to bidding. The first aspect is the bid responsive. And if there's a defect by not being sealed or not complying with your thing, it's non-responsive, you cannot consider it legally. Second aspect is that bidder responsible. If that bidder is responsible, then you go to lowest responsible. But responsiveness, you can't consider it at all.
I was just curious as to what their range was operating.
I don't want to look at it, okay?
Okay.
You might wanna start looking at it then.
All right, this, okay, you can't, all right, this, you can't say anything about it.
You can't, that can't be the reason that you.
All right, so, Larry, you have any other questions?
No, sir.
There's a motion, a second on the floor, now it's gonna call
Okay,
for the question.
discussion's over? Everybody's done? Okay, roll call.
Dupree,
I'm sorry, maybe discussion isn't open. How much is it gonna cost to keep doing this, and how much are we gonna spend too much by the time we open up bids again? Before we wrap this?
I think we could do one more round at least, though.
But what price are we paying now that's over what we should be paying, and how long will the bidding process take again? I mean, are we really saving anything to keep this going?
Do we have enough fuel right now to last us for another month?
Well, then, how much is the difference of what we're paying right now? I mean, like, if we're gonna go.
The last time I looked at the bids that Chem Oil sent out, it was virtually the same price as you paid at the pump. I haven't looked at their most recent bill.
I'm gonna pass it this time, so keep calling.
Spar,
Well, in light of the fact that we received two bids, albeit one of those bids was improperly submitted, but that's no guarantee there's gonna be a huge deviation. Based on that, I'll vote to, reject the bid.
Okay, the bid.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
I just, they won't lock the price. I just can't accept that bid. I have to reject it because they will not lock the price in.
Owensboro.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, I vote to reject it.
Motion carried to reject it.
I'm a reject,
Oh, I
yes.
saw, I forgot.
I just passed at that time. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Should we make a motion to re-advertise, I think?
We can do it right now if you want. So you make a
First, you have to
motion
make
to
a motion to change the agenda.
No, he doesn't, we're still on the thing. So Mr. Parrish is making a motion to advertise for,
Re-advertise it.
well, re-advertise, whatever word we use, re-advertise for 3,500 gallons of diesel fuel and 6,000 gallons of gasoline with the proposals to be submitted no later than
When's our first meeting in June?
you need
Steve?
40.
The first.
Today is the
The
first
first?
day, the 5th.
Or
June 1st.
June 1st.
No more than
You should have enough time. 45:10 twice.
Yeah, June first would be all right.
So to be advertised, that the bids be submitted no later than noon time on June 1st. That's your motion?
Yes.
No, what was the amount? Gallons?
3,500 gallons of diesel, 6,000 gallons of gasoline.
Okay, what about the other
All right, now we have stone, I guess, whatever this stuff is.
aggregate?
All right,
We gotta do a roll call.
all right, that's right.
Is there a second?
So,
I'll second it.
okay, roll call on the re-advertising.
Dupree,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now we're at the aggregates. Let's make this simple. You only had two bidders for the number 8, number 57, number 67, and number 4. And the lowest bidder for those delivered would be Arcosa Aggregates.
I know,
Morgan
I've
County
seen,
said-
I've seen bills for them in there.
Wakeland. Down there by the stairs.
Okay, are these, okay. So, if you want to make a motion to accept 100 tons of number 8 at $38, comma, 150 tons of number 57 at 27, comma,
Hold on, 100 tons.
150 tons of number, 150 tons of number 57. What's the last thing I gave?
At
Oh,
27.
okay, let's start again.
I got 100 tons.
All right, 100 tons, just put 100 T, number 8,
Okay. Comma.
38.00.
Okay.
150 T, number 57, 27.00. 200 T, number 67, 27.50. 200 T, number 4, 27.00. Final 300 T, number 2A, 24.00. You want to make, and then they're also the lowest at number 3, 100 T,
3A.
of put 100 T at R3. Just put number 3, R3, 27.00. Also, they're the lowest at 100 ton, R5, 31.00. They're the lowest in those aspects.
Okay. And that was, how do you What's that again?
ARCOSA aggregates. So the motion to accept the proposal from Arcosa Aggregates for those items. ARCOSA. Just put AGG.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Go ahead.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Spar, a second by Evans Warren. Any discussion on that? Okay, roll call.
Dupree,
Yep.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans-Born.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Now, Ligonier, R4, 150T, 28.94, comma, 100T, R6, 31.51, 100T, R7, 34.09. Hundred tons of R8, 36.09.
Okay,
That's it.
so,
And that's Ligonier.
it's Ligonier, the R4, the R6, the R7, the R8.
You just put your stone.
That's on the R4, the R6, the R7, the R8. Okay, I make a motion, accept Ligonier on the R4, R6, R7, R8. Any seconds?
Second.
So motion by Dupree, second by Mr. Parrish. Roll call, or any discussion?
Roll call. Dupree,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans-Born.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And just put an asterisk in the minutes stating the following. Just make sure it's in the interstate proposal was not responsive and
It was not, that was the one that was not signed.
were not responsive
Yeah.
and rejected. And also put the proposal from Sprague was not responsive since it was not sealed and was rejected. Put that in the minutes. Steve, you get that. I'm sorry, here's your phone.
Does that conclude the?
That's it.
Okay. Discussion and motion to approve the 2021 audit with cover letter.
I sent you some information I received from Tice. Is that okay to sign for me to do that?
Yes.
All right, so I can do the motion. Okay, so then I'll sit, okay, is there a motion to approve the audit for 2021, subject to the condition that the current township board of supervisors were not supervisors for 2021, and therefore approve the same on that condition. Okay?
I'll make the motion once it's all written down.
Did you get that written down?
Okay, motion to approve the audit for 2021, subject to the current supervisors or not.
We're subject to the current supervisors were not supervisors in 2021. And the approval is a condition, is conditionally approved.
If that.
Okay?
And is
Conditionally approved.
anyone want to make that motion?
I just did.
Okay, I know you were saying this motion was done, okay. Any seconds on that motion?
I'll second
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Wilson and a second by Mr. Parrish. Roll call?
Dupree,
Yes.
Scar,
Yes.
Parrish,
it. Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans, Dillon.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Well, that'll satisfy the state's chomping at us
And I have
to
to
get
send,
that audit submitted.
and I have to send them a letter also.
Okay. Acknowledge and accept the resignation letter of S. Pettit, which would be Stephanie Pettit, our interim, treasurer for training. We have a motion, do we need a motion to accept her?
Before I would even look at this, I want the resignation letter read out loud.
I don't see a need to do that at all. I wouldn't.
I do, Dennis. I'll disagree with you on that. I can't order the board to do it. I'm only one vote. But I think it's necessary. It should be read out loud.
It's subject to right to know requests. I don't recommend it, but that's up to you folks.
I think there was already a right to know request out there for that, wasn't there?
Might be right.
Do you, I can't read it, because I don't have it, so.
I don't have it either.
I don't have one.
I have a copy if it needs to be read then.
I've got a copy here. I have no objection to it being read out, considering the solicitor's comments. You know, the board may not want to do it, that's fine. There's only a series of 3 words I'd like explained in this letter. I want to know what the hell new and upcoming controversy means. And her resignation was submitted so abruptly, and I know she was doing a fine job with Lori. Lori was well satisfied with her efforts towards instructing properly what Lori should be doing as a secretary treasurer. They were moving along pretty well. But I'd like to know what she means by new and upcoming controversy. If anybody knows.
There was a right to know that was put out. I think at least the person who had the right to know had a conversation with Miss Pettit. Was there anything in your conversation that sheds any light on the letter?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I think we can just go by what the letter has.
Did you have any conversations with her?
No, I didn't, but I inquired of Mrs. Stillwagon if she had any idea what Mrs. Pettit was referring to.
Maybe rather than speculate, maybe someone should talk to her about it.
She's on vacation this week. I tried to.
I sent her emails. I'm gonna be in court tomorrow if I can, so.
Mrs. Stillwagon said she was doing an excellent job, and she was very satisfied while working with her.
Well, what controversy would they have together?
Evidently, they had none.
Yeah.
What I could glean.
It wouldn't be with Lori.
What controversy was she alluding to?
Well, since we keep alluding to the letter, should I read the letter of resignation out loud?
Go ahead, I mean, he's already read a lot of it. Okay, well, yeah.
I said based on what the solicitor says, it should be read out.
I don't see a need to do it, but
Okay.
that's. Why, is there a motion to accept the resignation with regret?
I'll make a motion to accept Stephanie Pettit's resignation with regret. I would also like to put in there how grateful I am that she came in and help this community the way she did. When she didn't have to, and didn't know us for nothing. It's a shame.
So you made a motion to accept her resignation with regret.
Yes. Any second?
I'll second that, Michelle.
Any more discussion on
As I said, I still believe that the public should be aware fully of what the resignation letter says.
Yeah, I'd like to know what it says. We have a right to know.
There's a motion on the floor and a second, but the question is before the board right now.
her? Okay. Roll call?
Dupree,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes, from the standpoint that, beyond Mrs. Pettit's language of upcoming controversy, I don't know what else has any solidity or meat to it. What does it mean beyond that point?
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
I will leave the letter here on the desk. Anybody wants to read it? I'm not going to deny you. So it will be right here. And then I will vote to accept the resignation.
Okay. E, discussion. What? Oh,
Evans,
oh, I thought it was
Yes, regrettably, yes.
okay, motion carried.
E, discussion and motion to approve the hiring of an accountant.
Or cold block.
Oh, I'm sorry. D, discussion and motion to accept Cold Bluff Guide Rail estimate.
Yep. It was, I got an estimate from Interstate.
Do we all have that? I don't have the.
Yeah, everybody had copies of it.
You got a copy? I do need a copy.
It should be in your packet, Diana made them all up.
Oh, the one
Manila
today?
folder. In the manila folder, Diana
Oh,
put them all
well,
in there.
so it just came today? The
No, we've
estimate?
had it.
Diana put it together today, the folder.
It's in the packet.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know I had it. But I thought
This is for the guide rail that was taken out by somebody right here on the corner down here, which is a very bad situation here on the corner for safety, and it should be replaced. And I got the Interstate quoted price of $6,500, and I called two other places, Tedesco and Green Acres, and didn't get any response back from them. So, so that was the low bid from Interstate.
you called Tedesco?
Tedesco.
That happened the last time.
And what's the other
Nobody
company?
did last
What's the
time
other
either.
company?
Green Acres.
Green Acres.
Same thing happened the last time over at Shot. Same thing.
6500.
Do you have any motion for this?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Any second?
Second.
Discussion? I'm gonna say that, it is the second time this has happened with guardrails. I'd like to see some more bids on things. There's only been one on multiple items like the flail mower blade, the harness, the cameras, and the guardrails always seem to be one bid. I'm getting very hesitant to keep voting on things that we only ever have one person responsive to. So, any other
Be
discussion?
reimbursed by an insurance company if the person who did the rent?
You'd have to find out who did it.
Don't you already knew that?
Problem is, we never see police reports on them. I don't know how these guys get away from the accident. You see it hit that hard, it has to be towed.
That car never stayed there. That car drove away.
It drove away.
It drove away.
Hard time believing they could drive away.
Because the police came right down there. Albert was down there. It just happened, like I'll say, 2:30, 3 o'clock. It's like, where'd the car go? It's gone. You see where they hit the grass? And I don't know how they missed that big hole there.
He knew he was gonna pay for the golf course.
I guess you go fast enough, you can jump over anything.
I guess.
Not airborne.
It had to be.
Okay, roll call.
Harry,
Yes.
Dupree,
No, I'd like to see, more bids on things.
Squire,
Yes, and I know I had a couple residents on Cold Bluff approach me just within a week and asked me if that guardrail was gonna be replaced. So I'll vote yes.
Wilson,
I'd like to agree with Michelle, but that's too much of a hazard. I think it has to be
I
replaced
get it,
right
but we
away.
have talked about it for a month and a half.
Yeah.
There's plenty enough time to get another
But I
proposal.
think, yeah, I vote yes.
Evans, Warren,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. E, discussion and motion to approve the hiring of an accountant to assess the escrow account. I don't know whose agenda item. Any, I don't know whose agenda item. What are we talking here?
I asked for that to be on the agenda, based on talking to Lori, who, spoke with, Ms. Pettit about the, escrow accounts, and maybe you could give us a little more information about that, about how, some of them could be at a negative balance.
So, Ms. Pettit advised me that, since I'm not 100% sure how to work QuickBooks and get into all of the accounts, that if I were continue to pay certain invoices, that I believe should go to an escrow, and I don't know what the escrow amount is per each account or per each client, that then there would be a misappropriation of funds. And until the escrow accounts are up to date, so if they have a negative balance or if they have a zero balance and we still have to pay against them, then we need to contact whoever that escrow is for, and we need them to supply more money. So she said the best way to do that is to hire an accountant or an accounting firm that knows QuickBooks and is able to go through our finances and balance all of those escrows. Mr. Wilson had asked Ms. Pettit, to do that, but there just wasn't enough time for her to do everything. So that's why she highly recommended hiring an accountant or an accounting firm.
So,
How bad are the records? See, I told back in a number of months ago, the thought process was to build the records so that we know what we have back there.
we started to build, me and the elected auditors started to build the records for,
Because the more you have the accountant, from my perspective, I've been involved with maybe 12, 15 forensic audits and other situations. So you need to have someone to build the record because they can put the records together. It makes it easier and less expensive. Because an accountant's if you have the accountant do it, they're going to be charging you $150 an hour to build the records.
and I didn't.
So Ms. Pettit was in the very early stages of teaching me how to create a new escrow. And I've done that for maybe like 4 or 5 so far, and I followed her process. But I don't know, I mean, when I look in QuickBooks, there are a lot that say escrows.
But they're not identified of.
Well, they're identified either through a name or through an address. But I mean, I don't know where all the records are. Just starting here February 1st and never really using QuickBooks before, like it's more than I could ever tackle. If I had someone to show me and to start me on how to go through the existing records, I could definitely learn it, but I need.
So the word assesses, the assess word is, you want more training.
No, I actually need someone to get these escrows in order so that we as a township can start
can pay bills, especially ones that start coming in. Like even some that are submitted by banks and engineering, I'm sure that they go against escrows, or even some that are submitted by dentists. And I don't feel comfortable anymore paying those because I don't know what amount is in those escrows. So we need to have somebody come in here that can actually say, okay, this is what, this address has, and this is what this address has.
I think what she's saying, when you get money, what you're supposed to have done, what there's the previous board, the previous secretary, treasurer, whoever, project manager, they were supposed to create an escrow account, back in the old days, we called it the paper ledger, now they call it QuickBooks, whatever.
There should be separate accounts, so instead of they group them all together.
No, they're in there. The separate accounts are in there. The problem is, she's not familiar with you have escrow accounts for holding tank agreements, you got escrow accounts, so she's not familiar with stuff. So there's the developer escrow accounts, the holding tank escrow accounts there.
How much work is there to be for that project? How much work, is there a lot over there?
Well, I mean, what I was advised is every single account that's in QuickBooks, every single escrow account in QuickBooks, you need to go back through, you need to find all the invoices, you need to see if they've been accurately put to that escrow account, you need to see what the escrow started with, and now you need to see what the present balance is, and you need to see if the escrow is still existing. So that is all considered a misappropriation, and that goes after my bond, and I'm the only one in this township that has a bond, and that makes me kind of nervous.
So that's why Stephanie and Christy had originally, with me and the elected auditors, told us to work on the working escrows right now, the ones that things were going into or coming out of.
The one person I talked to about, she won't do it, I guess, she's too busy, she told Nancy.
I don't know how I think it's.
Is there?
I think an accountant looks at numbers. We're talking about a stack of Harshman bills that you have to go through and look and highlight every different time you got something out of it.
You're shaking your head no.
It's not just Harshman. It is every.
Well, I'm just saying. I started with Harshman.
No, that is not true. Harshman submitted to the township, and I gave all of you on the board just his letter. He submitted it maybe a couple weeks ago, and it was a 2-page summary. And he had the remaining bills that he has is about $56,000. So in bill pay today, there were 2 bills that were just for engineering services. They were from November the 15th, and they were suggested that they be paid. The rest of those bills that Harshman submitted were gone through by.
I'm not really worried. I mean, I think the thing is, understand there's different dynamics. What we need is somebody who has bookkeeping skills to come in and see what's there.
I don't think you realize that last year the secretary was paying lump bills for Harshman and not separating the escrows.
The remaining bills that he has left that have not been paid.
I'm talking about the ones that were paid in 22, 21. Okay. They were not separated. Okay. They were just paid to Harshman. We're talking weeks.
All right. I can call I can call a couple people tomorrow if you want. We can get them lined up if you want.
We have to do something. I mean, we cannot let these escrows continue to be in the mess that they're in, and we cannot continue to, they have to be resolved, and we can't have misappropriation of funds over this. This, unfortunately, is part of the mess that was left. It's unfortunately
This is one of the other issues. So if the accountant comes in and says on the QuickBooks, the Smith escrow, give me all the documentation you have for the Smith escrow. Who gets that for them?
That's what I'm saying. You need a book.
You need more than an accountant. You need somebody. You need staff.
I call building the records. You have to build your records.
Like I said, we were building records. Stephanie had put us on Scarmazy and some of the other ones that were having movement. Like if they weren't having movement, it's not a concern. And then suggested opening up a Scarmazy, a separate phase 2 escrow for Scarmazzi while you research the phase 1 Scarmazzi.
So do you know a bookkeeper recommending that could help in this process? So we can try to resolve this piece of the puzzle that we were left?
All right, so here's what we can do. If you want to make a motion to receive proposals from accountant / bookkeeper to be submitted by May 23rd.
Receive proposals.
Still proposals by May 23rd at noon time.
May 23rd.
Noon.
Yes. If I may, I've done those in the 10 years I worked here. We need an individual to come in, look at Harshman's old bills, and document them in QuickBooks according to projects. We don't need to pay an accountant to do that. Once that's done, you can do a report that says what each project spent and what money needs to be reimbursed. It's an entry issue, a data entry issue.
Can you do it? Can you do it?
I can do, but I'm the tax collector. I can't.
Is it possible to look for a college student or an intern?
I
bond them.
Well, I think what we need to do, maybe
somebody needs to highlight everything through for someone to do the data entry. Also, someone needs to get familiar with, okay, not everything's a project. There's not 150 moving escrows. There is 150 escrows. But some of them are just escrows for holding tank agreements. They've been sitting there for years. And if they don't pump their holding tank, then you have to go use their money. Then there is some movement on 4 or 5 of the escrows right now that I'm sure she's concerned with, like the Scarmazzi and so forth. And that was the ones that Stephanie was telling me, and Suzanne Bain and Ron Hollingsworth, to try to get documentation on the ones that there would be movement in. There was some EPP gas wells. So the gas wells, the Scarmazzi, Mingo, Sarah, different. Those were the most important.
Do we have a list? Do we have like a list of people's escrow accounts?
In QuickBooks, yes.
And how many are there? Approximately.
I don't know. I guess 150 is a good guess. Maybe 100. I don't really know.
So the starting point would be to put those.
You have over 150 holding tanks in this community.
Well, if they're holding tanks, shouldn't be that difficult.
That's what I'm saying. They're listed as escrow.
So what you ought to do, and I'm not an accountant, not like Bernie over there, I guess, but what I would do is I would list those various escrow accounts, separate the holding tanks from, as long as it might be holding, put those on the bottom list because there's nothing to worry about. Those money will stay there because they're supposed, they signed the holding tank agreement, right, Harold? But basically that money has to stay there, so that shouldn't be an issue.
There's also road bonding escrow, like that. Every time someone gets road bond, there's an escrow. But it's not a ton of movement in them. There was just, they bonded the road, the money went into escrow, they finished the road, the money went out of escrow.
I'm just saying, but it needs to be resolved, but simplified, it might not be as bad as we think. If you take the holding tanks out, take the road bonds out, and you separate that, it should make it a little bit easier. That's what I would focus on.
Maybe if we printed out a whole list of every escrow and start narrowing down what this, when it's somebody's first and last name, it's going to be a road bond or a holding tank. If it doesn't have so-and-so LLC or so-and-so development, it's
okay. Stephanie saw this. She has okay. All right. So if you want to make I think what was the motion? There was a
motion to receive proposals from a bookkeeper / or an accountant by May 23rd at noon.
Is there a motion to that effect?
Full-time, part-time?
What?
Full-time or part-time?
It's not going to be a permanent job. It's just to get things straightened out.
What are the qualifications?
Nobody's going to apply for that because they don't know what they're getting into.
That, and we not even specifying what the qualifications of bookkeeping.
More than like, I mean, there's firms like the Parking Company, which they're an accounting firm. They're not a CPA.
That would be qualified to.
Do they need to be bonded?
Not working with you, but working independently.
Why would I need? If you give them a list, why would they need? They're not touching the money.
Okay.
Am I right or wrong? I mean, that's my position.
Secondly, they're carrying their own independent insurance.
Right. Well, it depends. We hire an accountant or if we hire a
If
bookkeeper.
it's an accounting firm, they carry their own separate insurance.
But I don't think, they're not touching the money, so they shouldn't be, they don't see a need to be bonded.
No.
All they're doing is gonna be looking at and analyzing the folders.
You have all your payables in a file? Because somebody's gotta find the payables.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's say 2022. Harshman gives July's bill. In July's bill, or Spermese stuff,
And each one is a separate
Mineral
file.
Beach stuff, yeah. But when they were put into QuickBooks,
They
didn't put them in by, and I'm not saying all of them, the ones that I saw were almost like, let's say you go to Evie's Hardware 122 times in a month, and they send you a statement. And somebody put in the statement amount in QuickBooks, but they didn't put in 150 different invoices. And every one of those invoices is a potential escrow. So they paid 12 invoices instead of, so every time they should have taken each one of the invoices to the statement and punching it separately, attaching that to the proper category. I don't care if it was MS4, if it was, and I'm not saying all of them, but there is.
Well, so I'm saying you have all that documentation, you have all those invoices that were paid.
Yeah. So, but
Somebody-
whether or not an
It's
accountant
not-
at $100 and something an hour to a bookkeeper, we're talking a lot of data entry.
So I don't think that person needs to be bonded. They're just looking for entries, that's not necessary.
QuickBooks doesn't attach to the bank accounts. You're hand doing it in. You can't move money from the QuickBooks.
All they're doing is analyzing income, what came in and what went out. So, I mean, do you guys wanna have someone come in and build the records first? Is that what you wanna do?
They said it was,
Who's good at computers around here? Not
it's
me.
not computer, it's a lot of paper. A lot of data. And as far as paying, just to make her comfortable, as far as paying your bill or TJ's bill, when she pays your bill, we're not really taking their money out. It's coming out of the general, it's just assigning where.
But she could pay out,
given the chart of
she could pay out,
account.
she could pay out of general fund, then she could reimburse that.
But that's there's no tied into the general fund, it's just going in the chart of accounts and QuickBooks. When she pays your bill, she's paying it with a general fund check. But when she separates your bill, she's taking it in QuickBooks to every direction it needed to go. This line item goes, like Christina May, she paid for your attorney fees. So you put her money into the account under real estate transaction, and that part of your bill would then come out of real estate transaction so that they're a wash, because that was the deal we had.
So let me ask a stupid question. Dr. Canavy, you and maybe, Susanna, you an accountant or anything? Who has financial,
I mean, I do, but I don't have time for a project like that. I work. I mean, I volunteered and came over and then started on some of it.
So what do you mean, my personal assessment of being in those offices for months, you need one person from a temp agency to start looking at those holding tank agreements. You have a requirement for CCP, to make sure their pumping records are in there. You need to make sure to check all of those people. You need someone to call them that get pumping records for all of those holding tank agreements that are mandated by the DEP. So then you can section out who the holding tank agreements are. I would, if NDR comes in, it would be a separate then a separate agreement.
So you wanna, so I understand, so do you wanna hire a temp person to come in?
Well, you're gonna have to, I think the ongoing ones are some oil and gas ones, and they're requesting accounting on their escrow, and Scarmazy.
How far back do you have to go?
As far as back as Scarmazy would go.
You guys wanna hire, just get a temp agency to come in and go in the records?
So this is what I can tell you, from what I looked at last year when I was on the board.
If they're capable.
The NVR Mineral Beach Development has 7 escrows, no less than. You have a Joe Lissani escrow, you have a Troy Vignoli escrow, you have a Ryan Holmes NVR escrow, you have a Mineral Beach subdivision escrow, you have.
All right, so why don't we
It's
do
all
this?
one piece of property with 8 escrows.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we have someone contact a temp agency to provide someone who has some type of accounting skills or whatever.
Is it QuickBooks? It's QuickBooks. I have QuickBooks. It's QuickBooks.
And data entry.
I'm like
Data
Steve. I know.
entry.
I'm like Steve. I know nothing about QuickBooks. All right, so have somebody who has QuickBooks skills to work on. So is there a motion to contact a temp agency?
How about a motion to authorize the treasurer to contact a temp agency?
Whoever.
Okay, you authorize the treasurer.
So, just, you know,
To
tomorrow's the last
contact.
day for resumes.
For what?
For the job we put out.
Contact a temp agency. Go ahead, Dennis.
Motion to contact a temp agency to obtain an employee with QuickBooks skills.
That way she can explain what it is that is needed. She's there.
What's that?
That way she can explain what exactly is needed because she's involved in this.
Do you have, Lori, you have a lot of skill with QuickBooks yet or not?
I mean, I have enough to keep this township running, I just
But
don't
do you-
have enough to.
So you don't know what, do you know, so if you contact a temp agency, would you know what questions to ask regarding QuickBooks?
No, not really, because,
Who knows
I don't
QuickBooks
know-
here then?
I don't know enough about escrows.
I know it can't be Steve, it can't be me, or it can't be Larry.
Can't be me.
Oh, you have a problem with the chairman, she says she knows QuickBooks.
I kept the township going for 4 months.
All right, so motion to authorize the chairman to contact a temp agency to inquire about people with QuickBooks skills. I'm glad at my age, I don't have to worry about computer stuff as I get.
I remember doing QuickBooks when it was Quicken. Quicken.
Wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't. They
I
had to
wish
get
it would.
Quicken payroll and they didn't, yeah.
All right, so a motion to authorize the chair, is there a motion to that effect? Steve, you made that motion? Someone make a motion to that effect?
Read that motion.
A motion to authorize the chairman to contact a temp agency to secure
You said obtain.
to obtain an employee who has QuickBook skills. It has to be done, it's ASAP. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
It'll be at midnight.
Okay. Any second?
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Spar, a second by Evans Thoren. Roll call?
Dupree?
Yes. Oh, what? Should I abstain?
No, you're
I'm
not
not
getting
gonna
paid
pay for it.
Paid for it.
Okay, yeah.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans Thorn,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, the next one is Petrovich. I'll try to move this quickly. I did talk to that Makuga. Is that his name? I believe I sent you
I
guys
don't know how you pronounce it.
Makuga or something. I think his name is Makuga. Does that sound about right? I sent you guys a copy of the release agreement. Is it okay with you? I tried calling Petrovich's twice. I haven't heard back from them. I told them I don't know who Makuga is, but I did try to call Petrovich's, so they have not called me back. I got a number from Lori, so I called that. So if you want to make a motion to approve that agreement, subject to Petrovich's agreeing to the same. That's your motion, Steve.
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
And this is for $8,000, right?
This is for the,
boat park.
yeah, the boats on Hawk. They were getting charged sewage. Yeah.
Motion to approve the agreement subject to.
Subject approved by Petrovich.
Yeah, I had the conversation in the very beginning where I had a phone call, it was when we didn't have staff, and when I called the gentleman back, he told me that he didn't like, I don't know, something about Fridays, and they call him on Monday, and I said, I'm here in the evenings and the weekends, so Monday's not gonna work for me, so.
Okay, so who made that motion?
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a first, or we have a motion by Mr. Parrish, a second by Mr. Wilson.
I'll second that.
Okay, and now roll call?
Dupree,
Yes?
Farr,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Evans, Thorne,
Yes.
motion carried.
The next is, I guess, it deals with the PCSA membership.
Now, this was tabled, correct?
I leave it on the table because I spoke to Tanya Gozliak.
Oh, yeah.
She requests basically this table because, for the record, remember I suggested using the definition of
The Ethics Commission.
Ethics Commission relative, they, or whatever it is, they agree that that's the best way to handle it, but they're still talking to some other municipalities, so that's just
So there's no motion here
Just
because we're
table it.
just leaving it on the table.
correct.
It's already on the
Nothing
table.
to do with it.
Okay. Discussion and motion to authorize the township engineer to proceed with the work necessary to achieve the PADEP MS4 permit compliance by June 30th, 2023, in the approximate amount of blank. Thank you for such a long motion.
You're welcome. I like being specific.
I saw the proposal you had, PJ, was for
What's the amount?
15,000.
15,000, yes.
So is a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Just to let you know, Dennis, 2022 was never done, so we're catching up 2 years worth of work on the MS4.
As I would say, ships go por Ivana, right?
Yeah, we had our inspection with DEP on Friday. There were violations noted due to lack of activity, so not much we can do about that. All we can do is work these next 7 weeks to
I'm
do
not
what we have to
sure
do.
what happened with that Friday thing, but I don't remember seeing an email or getting a call about that meeting until 5 o'clock the night before that meeting. And I was like, oh.
I
So
thought
I
it
don't
that
know
same
if we're
week, but
having.
it was earlier in the week.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Look, I think Lori originally sent it, and I had to change the date because I was at PSATs, so
So it was like,
I'm sorry if you didn't find out till late notice. but-
You don't have to be sorry in any means. We just figure out how.
Yeah.
All right, she's calling for the question. That means we have to vote.
Okay. Roll call?
Dupree,
Yes.
Farr,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes, that's not to exceed 15,000, right?
Not without talking to you again before.
All right, yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans, Thorne,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, we'll get started tomorrow. Thank you.
Motion to approve the heavy hauling agreement termination for, I believe his name is Valentine Troyer on Dawn Street.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I'll second that motion. So, any discussion? Okay.
Are we holding bonding money from him? Did we get bonding money from him? We have to return it, right? Okay.
That's, yeah, so this would be in terminating his.
Right.
That would be your escrow account?
Well, just recently, I think it was 2 meetings ago.
Was it an escrow account?
It was. So, motion by Wilson, second by Dupree, roll call.
Dupree,
Yes.
Spar.
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evans Ford.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Discussion and motion to advertise a workshop meeting on May 15th at 7, I'm assuming PM, that ain't AM,
7
right?
p.m.
Between Union Township supervisors and proposed developer regarding a housing project on Route 88.
This is with the developer named Kevin Braun, who is proposing putting housing up behind the Mineral Beach. These are very preliminary discussions, just, at least on our end, they're very preliminary. I don't know how far he thinks he's gotten, but they've been dealing with the previous board, and we don't know what was going on outside of certain issues.
That's the day before the election, right?
Yeah, the night before the election.
Yeah, they do set up in here. They're gonna have
Yeah,
voting
they're gonna be
machines in
set up in
here.
here.
This is gonna be set up here and
the
ballot
voting
boxes and this room
Right.
will be.
Oh, I don't care if we want to use the conference room, but
But why would
Things
we
keep
advertise
getting-
it then?
You change the meeting.
Do we have to advertise a workshop?
It's an informational meeting, correct?
Yeah.
So if it's information, you can't make decisions, you can just grab your
Yeah,
information.
but didn't you recommend?
That's
we
Richmond
Okay, so we don't
Township.
have to advertise it.
Didn't you recommend we don't have a discussion on this till state come and present something?
I said that I sent you an email saying, before you meet, what do they want, find out what they want to discuss, what do they want to discuss?
Right.
So I just have one question is that, we have an ordinance of a process whenever a developer wants to come to the township. And the ordinance says that they have a pre-application meeting with professionals. And I would like to see this board follow the ordinance. And my other question to that is if we hold a workshop or even a meeting with this developer, do we have to do that with every other developer moving forward?
Well,
Are you setting a
if
precedent?
you have an ordinance that says a certain procedure, you have to follow that procedure, I don't, that's what you have.
Well, so what is our ordinance, Harold?
Well, there is like a pre-application meeting, and we've done this before. Actually, we just kind of had the same kind of thing that Union Gardens just the other day to find out where we're at and what's going on. So if they wanted to come and present something or talk with us about where they're at, and we can relay it to the board.
So this Kevin Braun, Chuck.
yes.
I know he's been at multiple Peters Creek sanitary meetings, and I know he's been here. So is he part of an application that's here? I mean, is this more
Let's
like
put it
Union
this way.
Gardens and it
He
is a
already
new
had a
person?
developer's agreement with the township that the township just didn't get around to sign. We know there have been multiple escrow accounts that were set up on the properties that were over there, whether they're all paid up to date or not. What I did was tell Kevin, here's your opportunity to come into the board, tell them exactly where you stand, what you want to do, and then we can get the process started. So we actually have actual real discussions professionally with the developer, that we do not start out either with an enormous amount of animosity or being bamboozled. What we've got is a meeting to ask and answer questions. That's all this meeting is designed to do.
So is he following their old PRD or?
That's what we have the opportunity to ask.
Well,
I don't want to negotiate for the board, so I said, let's have a meeting. The whole board will have a chance to ask any questions they want to ask. That's how they're handled in other
so I mean, they
communities
have
I've dealt
had
in.
PRD, they have had our, but that's how it was
What's that?
handled with Scarmazy just recently. We did go to
Yeah,
Scarmazy.
but that was because we didn't know much about it.
But he has a development that he's already did subdivisions, hearings.
Right.
PRD, so.
But
he-
we
he's
don't
kinda
know
in there
what they
too.
did. So it's best we get the opportunity to do something very simple. Ask questions.
I would rather follow the ordinance and have our professionals have
But it's
a
not a
meeting with them and
pre-application.
find out.
They had already applied to many different things.
Have you
What-
seen
what-
any applications, you two?
Well,
I haven't seen
the
anything
PRD,
other than what
the developers
Chuck
agreement,
showed me.
there is signed developer agreements and
2019.
subdivisions and storage module planning.
Why don't we just do this? Why don't we have them come to our, why don't we have them
Come to the meeting, come to the public meeting.
Come to the public.
Yeah, what we can do is we'll give them, if we don't have bids and we don't have 15 people talking, well, we can have them give a half-hour presentation to the public. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, invite them to the meeting and
Does that
ask
make
them
sense to you folks?
to present
That sounds
where
So
they
as long
stand.
as everything is done above board, presented to the public so everybody knows
Would it be
what's going on.
Would it be okay for one of our professionals to at least see, like you guys did with Paliotis the other day, to see how far in so that maybe we can pull files and that we can look at, like how far into this? I mean, I sat through many things where he was at. I know
That's
he's
fine.
got storage.
The problem is that we have no connections. See,
Why don't
before
we-
this
why-
stuff comes
why-
through us anyway in the first
Why,
place.
why don't we just have that
So-
person? give
I know
it-
Peters Creek has his number because the last holdup they had was ductile pipe.
Yeah, Harold and I
Couldn't
haven't
get
seen a
ductile pipe.
drawing or.
If you need, I have his number too. You got, I'll give it to you too.
Why don't we just tell that person, here's, like I said before, about the cost and all that, with the engineers and the accountants and the solicitor, whatever. Why don't we just tell that person to submit a narrative of what they plan to do to the township professionals? Tell them to come to either the 23rd or what's the meeting in June, Steve?
June 1st.
23rd, June 1st.
The June 1st? That's May's meeting, is that May?
That's May, but June the 1st is Thursday.
The first Thursday in
First
June.
Thursday in June.
See, does that make sense to you, Larry? Give a narrative.
Give a narrative,
And
we can acknowledge whatever the hell's in the narrative. And move forward from there, but I'm reluctant, as Harold and you, Dennis, expressed a few weeks ago, to have some type of formal meeting or informal, I don't know which, with him when he's proposed nothing. And you have the danger of something being said innocently, and at some point in the future, it being thrown back in your face.
I've seen that before. Something jabbed up my ass, but late in the day. So June the 1st, tell that person basically that prepare a narrative, submit it to us at least a week ahead of time. That will give them a half hour with limited public participation.
But have our professionals involved in that process so that that's the way it's going.
So what I'm saying is they'll give a narrative. The narrative will come to the township and the professionals at the same time. When they come to the meeting on the 1st, we'll give them a half hour presentation.
That sounds good.
And that way we don't have to incur any additional fees for, having whatever.
A special meeting.
Okay, so there's no motion that
No
has to be
motion.
done for that.
So who's talking to these folks?
Yeah,
Chuck?
Well, apparently I'm the only person that has his phone number, so.
How about telling that person to do that then? Tell me what meeting on the 1st, that we want to have the information by the 25th.
I'll let him know. I know we have a bunch of stuff over in the office over there, as Michelle has pointed out. So I'll see about giving, I know I gave TJ a copy of the first proposal they had for plans and the rest of it.
2019, I haven't seen anything.
I'll see what other files we can find.
So just know for the record that Chuck's going to contact them, tell them to be here on the 1st.
You said 2019?
And that the information will be provided by the 25th.
There's more.
Just note that somewhere. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna move around, well, do I need to move on? Some of the motion items ended up down here in discussion items.
Let's just keep going too.
Okay.
Well, we already talked about EQT lease, possible sale. I already talked about that.
Okay.
I talked about the 911
Tower.
situation. Okay, now they already have a plant demolition.
I don't, Who wanted to talk about the arena plant demolition?
I don't know who put it on, I was just asking when I saw it.
That was brought
What
up
are
by
they
Mr.
doing?
Bailey, I think 2 meetings ago, and he, I believe, said that the drive, he said that the driveway to that plant was in Allegheny County, but the
I
plant.
already pulled the dates and all that, but I'll give a call to that Mr. Steiner probably.
Okay.
All right, so that's
Can I
still
say
on.
something? Can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
The last time something happened down there, and we got called down there, they told us, they said, this is not in Allegheny County. You shouldn't even be here.
It's Washington County.
It is.
I already have the deeds for that.
They said, it's Allegheny County, we shouldn't be there.
Washington County.
And now
Well,
they're
I'm
getting
just-
ready to demolish, correct?
Well, the way I hear it now, yeah, next Friday.
Next Friday, so.
Next Friday.
But it is Washington County, 'cause I did
Yeah,
see
but
the
they,
dates.
plus you can't find nobody down there that talks English. There's one guy that talks English and all the rest of them are, but they acted like we should know. I thought maybe somebody at the board knew what was going on down there. Don't we keep track of what's going on down there? It's
No,
a
I
mess
mean,
down there.
I've read it.
We are surprised, the last time they did demolition down there, we didn't know
I
about
mean,
it.
it's a real mess down there. It really is.
Go ahead.
If they're doing some kind of demolition of a building, they should have some turn
What's
into
wrong?
this office.
Well, why don't you know the contact down there?
It's
I do not.
all on the internet and everything, but they're
It's all over
demolishing that
Facebook.
next Friday.
Alright,
Do they
so
have a
you-
permit?
You
Do they have
should
a
get a
demo
demolition
permit?
permit.
Yeah.
Howard, do you wanna contact them?
Apparently, they say they talked to the old board.
It's a company out of Ohio that's doing it.
It's got a weird name.
Yeah, but they're out of Ohio.
Trotson something.
Yeah, I have contact information.
Harold, I'll have Emily email you.
And if you could give me the name, I can find whether or not they have permits.
I'll email you I'll email the deeds for the property, and that should give you some.
I would need to know just the name of the company to look up on the servers and stuff for if they have permits.
I don't think they realize they're Washington.
Yeah.
Well, they know now, 'cause we told them.
I thought they had to- I thought they had to show in the back where it says the park.
I'll send you what I have.
If the arena tower had to pay a demolition permit, then they're gonna have to pay a demolition permit.
Was there
Everybody
no demo that went on a couple weeks ago?
They've been.
a couple months ago.
And-
January, I think.
Months ago.
And
No, it was actually the week that, I think the day we became a board. I remember, it had hit the news because people
couldn't
were
see.
saying like something exploded. It was like on October 26th or
So-
7th that happened.
You couldn't see anything down there.
so
Demolished.
if that was on Union Township section also, then we should have a demo permit for that.
Yeah, but what we didn't have was a board that week.
Yeah.
And we're staffed that week or until 3 o'clock that afternoon. Yeah, we didn't even have a reorg till the 31st, so we didn't have a board, so I don't think they had a permit.
Yeah, my only
Judging by
question
all
is,
that.
I'm sure
they
they
should
did.
be working through yous, right? I mean, they should be, you people, they should have paid something, there should be something down there.
Yeah, we can go back and get them.
Alright, so what we're gonna do is we'll get Harold the stuff, Harold follow up. What you may wanna do is go down and put a cease and desist. Alright.
Right.
Okay, Veterans Park closeout items.
Okay, what's this about?
Punch list closeout items. TJ, this is you. Jump.
Sorry.
Open us up.
So Veterans Park, we've talked about this a couple times in the past. I've pulled their most recent pay estimate, which is pay estimate number 3, and there's a copy in all of your packets there. There's $150,000 approximately worth of work to do on Veterans Park, which the contractor hasn't been paid for.
Excuse me back here. I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but
Hey guys.
hey, Karen.
Go ahead.
So here's the thing. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of work going on down there at the park, and we need to get this wrapped up. I mean, this has been stagnant. The infield's full of water again. I think we need to have some conversations about, are we striking any line items from this contract? Are we taking the batting cages out? Are we taking any of these other items out of this contract? And then, we need to communicate with Flapcheck to get this closed out. So that's why I asked
You
to have
feel
this on.
Flapjack would be okay with taking the batting cages out?
He
How you
indicated
feeling
that.
about
He indicated that when we met with him originally.
Well,
He hasn't
if
ordered the
it's-
batting
if it's not
cages
gonna,
yet.
If it's not gonna be a hard feeling with him or any kind of litigation with him over that contract, I would be more than
So
happy to take the batting cages out.
the quick summary on this, there's $156,300 remaining. About a third of that is the outfield fence, which is $50,000. The batting cage and bullpen is listed to be $30,000. So if you take that money out, that takes the remaining balance down to approximately $125,000. That still needs to be paid to the contractor to close the job.
So,
That's where we stand in terms of payment.
That's work to be completed, which is additional cost. If you take the batting cages out, TJ, approximately what, 125,000?
Yeah, that takes you down to, 126,300 of remaining work that
And
needs
what's
to be
been paid on that contract?
to date, Larry. We paid $246,500.
246,
Out of the general
346,
funds for something that was totally not
almost
needed.
375 total.
Yeah. So the total contract value was $402,800. We've paid $246,500 and we owe $156,300.
No, it's not true. You're not accurate.
What?
You're not accurate.
Wait.
Part of the left field is in whose property?
Well, that's the other point. That's
property right there.
Part of the left field is somebody else's
We've
property.
got an encroachment too. Yeah. We have to
So
work
it's
that
more
out.
than that, really.
Someone's gonna have to get out to that guy too, he's calling.
What about the handicap parking thing? Is that being corrected on there or not? You're gonna go there and you're not gonna have it for handicap parking.
Right. That needs to be
You're gonna make
discussed with Flapcheck as well. So we need.
So, but in actuality, Larry, we have the left field, a part of the left field is on somebody else's property. And I think that's a situation where the previous engineer should be liable for that. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, we think so, yes.
Would you?
Short answer, yeah. I don't know enough about what happened back in the day, but short answer is probably yes.
To my understanding, he had a lot of dealings with an ex-board member who made a lot of promises from what he's saying about screening and trees and.
In the Veterans Park binder that I got, there was easement paperwork drawn up to obtain the property that we're discussing right now, but none of it was ever signed.
The engineer told me in my office, who was there at that meeting?
Me.
You?
And Larry.
And he said
Me and
in my
Larry.
meeting, he said.
A meeting down at his office.
He said, when I asked the question, he said that they screwed up. This is word, quote, unquote, they screwed up.
They screwed up.
Well, the park's not on our property, so that's a
Well,
major
first he
problem.
didn't want to say it either. He said, well,
I
and
asked
there's
him.
the bad news. And I said, well, tell him the really bad news. And he's like, you mean that it's on someone else's property? 'Cause he didn't
All right,
talk about
so
it.
here's what we have to do. I think we need to find out. There's this Tim Schaff wants somebody to call him. Would you want, Michelle, do you want to call him or do you want TJ to call him?
This person?
Yes.
Is that the property
Whose note is that, by the way? Is that your handwriting?
well, by chance, one of our staff members just sold a piece of property to that person because she owned the property next on the other side of the street. And in the negotiations of selling her property to him, he kind of expressed to her all of the things that have gone on with that property and how I think he's not going to give an easement, and how he's not going to give an easement agreement. And a former board member promised him like this screen fencing and all of these trees, and he doesn't want people sitting up on top of that slope because he knows that slope's his, and people sitting up there watching the games. And he was promised like some sort of high fence. I don't know what all.
So what I suggest is maybe have TJ give him a call and just say, here's the note.
Do you have his info?
So first you might want to talk to
And what I'd like you to do,
this employee,
what I'd like you to do is I'd like
and
you
then
to
she
keep,
can lead you up to it.
I'd like you to keep a log of your time that you spend trying to clean this mistake up. And then I think that should be deducted from any invoices from Harshman.
Okay, so I'll do a couple things. We'll follow up on this, step one. Step two, are we in consensus that we want to remove the batting cages? That was discussed briefly at the 18th, the meeting, the 2nd April meeting.
What baseball teams are out there? Have we got any prospects?
None.
Unlike
Doesn't sound like
years
there's many,
ago,
Larry.
We're gonna start like a,
Pittsburgh Pirates coming in, the Chicago Cubs.
no, we were gonna get our own team. The Bears, Penguins. We're gonna get our own team.
Can I make a comment? I've bit my tongue for months on this one. When I was the chairman of the recreation board and we put the building up down there, our next move was we were looking at what else to do there. And it was brought up about extending that field. And two things, we knew that we didn't have the space, that the property did not go out far enough. And the second was, we were told, and this was 15 years ago or more, that there was no need for baseball fields, that it's not out there, they can't field the teams. But yet, we have a past board that spent over $400,000, not even, when we built that building, that was grant money, matching, and we matched it.
All right.
And this was $400 and some thousand out of the general fund.
You're talking about the
Totally not needed.
$100,000 hot dog stand.
Yes.
Right.
And how many people have used that stand?
And they want to.
In 4 years, nobody, because it's been under
All right.
construction.
And it was up on Facebook because people want to rent it for graduation parties. I'm thinking, what that field looks like now, I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't be down there at all.
So TJ, you understand basically, I'd like you to keep
Yes.
a separate
Track time
account,
separate.
track it, whatever you spend, because I think that should be the responsibility of the previous engineer,
Right.
okay?
So, what we can do, if we want to take the batting cages out, we can write up a change order, send it to Plowcheck, have him sign it, and deduct that line item out and reduce the contract value, if that's something that the board
Did you
wants.
provide the board like does the board have like a statement or like a list of the different expenses and all that?
Yeah, so pay estimate number 3 is in the packets here, and it spells out, it's a lump sum breakdown of all the items that are in the contract. So,
There won't be any trouble, TJ. He didn't want to put the batting cages in the first place.
sounded like he'd be open to removing it from the contract.
I'm open to it.
Administratively.
So you're making a motion to deduct that as a change order? Linda?
Sure.
The motion by Linda to deduct as a change order the batting cages.
In the amount of 30,000, yeah.
Veterans Park.
Okay, the motion made by Linda.
To deduct.
The motion by Linda to do a change order, deducting $30,000 for batting cages. That's your motion. Let's see what's going to go back to that.
Okay, I'll second that. Provided you gotta put the handicap parking.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out too.
First and second, so, all right?
Okay, roll call?
Dupree,
Yes.
Spar,
Yeah.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evansborn.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Who made the second there?
You better.
Parrish made a motion, second.
No, she made the motion.
Motion
You
by,
made the second.
second by Parrish.
So after all is said and done, TJ, there may be an expenditure out, total expenditure out there of almost $400,000.
Yes, Larry. Yeah, the revised total will be 372,800.
The only problem with that,
I
Larry, is
remember
it
going
costs
to,
more
I remember
put
going to a
field
meeting
out
where they
than there is to
discussed they
finish.
could pay for it by putting plaques on the stadium seating and selling the seats. The plaques on the. Oh, well, there was like there was the press box. and-
Press box would go for two, you didn't take that out, did you?
No press box.
Okay, Tuscany Estates.
Okay, Tuscany Estates.
Yes, this was the last item I asked to have on there. You'll recall we sent that letter requesting that Quaker reply. to the original Harshman letter
Didn't
by
hear
the
from you.
28th. We got no response.
So we have Michelle found the bond, I believe. We have the original bond here.
Yes. Yeah, I have a
So,
copy of it.
so what I suggest, send a letter to the bonding company.
Yeah, we'll have to call on the bond and do so in accordance with the provisions of the municipality planning.
Keep in mind, the law says you have to execute on, you have to have the original bond to execute on. You cannot make a copy.
We have that, right?
Yeah, I had Linda, after we talked to Pete, that one afternoon we were talking to Pete and all that, I told Linda, I said, find me the Tuscan Estates file, because if you don't have the original bond, you can't execute on a copy.
Right.
So.
We don't have the original bond.
We do have, no, we do. Linda found it in that truck trailer back there.
You bought, okay.
All right, so maybe I'll draft the letter and run it past you before I send it to the bond.
All right. So is there a motion to authorize the township engineer to submit a letter to the bonding company for Quaker Ridge?
I can't hear you with them talking. A motion to authorize the township
Okay, guys.
engineer.
A motion to authorize the township engineer to submit a letter to the bonding company for Quaker Ridge / Tuscany Estates for the improvements. For the public improvements.
Okay, hold on, I got it. Tuscany Estates for.
The public improvements required to complete as required by the developer's agreement / site plan, or whatever you call it, as required by the developer's agreement / site plan.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll have a first. We have a first. That Steve made that motion.
Yes.
Seconded by Chuck.
Fine with me.
Now the thing is, there's improvements that are necessary to be made. Those improvements are set forth on the developer's agreement, and sometimes in the site plan approval. So you have to look at both of those. Okay. And the good thing about it is we still have the bond in place that we can execute on it.
So that means you're gonna start doing work, infrastructure work.
No, we don't do the infrastructure work. He's gonna send a letter, submitting it to the bonding company to say we're executing the bond, get the money. I don't know how much is there. Once he does that, the bonding company will then respond. You know, you're not gonna get the money initially. They might fight you. We don't know what's gonna happen. So I've gone through this before.
It was 130, right?
138,000.
So he's gonna send a letter, and then we have to play it by ear. Okay?
So if we do get that, how does that work get done?
He can give you the money, I guess, and then once we get that money, the town, or they can go and do it themselves. Either they'll have someone come in and do it, or the township will get the money. But it takes time. It's not gonna happen. We have to execute on it.
I've been waiting 8 years, a couple more.
I wasn't here 8 years ago. You had the wrong person. Excuse me.
Okay, so roll call.
Dupree,
Yes.
Spore,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Evansborn,
Yes.
motion carried.
So what's next?
Discuss Peoples Natural Gas Company regarding the permanent restoration agreement. So,
Steve?
You gave us an opinion on this. We're waiting to see after we get the bids to see what the amount will be.
No action necessary.
So no action, right?
Okay.
so do we have to execute that agreement?
No. The agreement they have to fill in the amount in that agreement.
Right, TJ, we said after we got the bids, we would be able to tell the figure what it would be per square, how many square yards, what their amount would be. They would reimburse.
Nothing needs to be done.
Nothing can be done, right?
Okay, what's the next thing?
Discuss the timber harvesting ordinance.
I submitted you guys the proposal. Did you guys look it over? Larry?
No, I haven't had a chance, guys.
Just take this.
Okay.
I knew it was,
Keep it moving.
Does that not have to go to planning?
No, Tim Arson does not go to planning.
No. So we'll wait and put that on as maybe advertised next week. Discuss Columbia Gas utilizing Trax McClellan Road and heavy haul agreement for this thing.
We talked about that before, so we'll keep moving on that.
We're good,
Okay.
yep.
Potential.
Wait.
Never
Is
mind.
there a motion to set, a motion to amend the township resolution, fee schedule resolution to allow, to provide an application fee of $350.
A motion to amend.
A motion to amend the township fee schedule. Motion to amend the township fee schedule to set forth an application fee of $350 per month. I'm sorry, $350, I'm getting tired. $350 per application and $3,500 escrow with a replenishing clause of $1,000. Just put for a
with a replenishing
clause of $1,000. I know you know what we're talking about, PJ and I. For an HHA, that's a heavy hauling. Just put HHA, heavy hauling.
$1,000.
That's that. That's weird.
For an
HA, heavy hauling.
HHA, heavy hauling agreement.
Okay, so I'll make that motion to amend the ordinance.
Fee schedule.
Fee schedule, I'm sorry, fee schedule. It's getting late for me too.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Dupree, a second by Parrish. Roll call.
Dupree,
Yeah.
Spar.
Yes.
Parrish.
Do we have a fee schedule resolution here at all?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on the website.
Is it? All right. Well, so we'll need to amend. I'll have the office amend that fee schedule. We'll have it next, but it's been adopted, so we'll need to just have it signed off. Okay.
Parrish.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Ellensborn.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Discuss the potential of hiring a cleaning company for the township building. So, ever since our volunteer has gotten too busy and all of his hard work, it's starting to get a little bit dingy around here. So,
He's coming back though.
no? I don't think so. Are you coming back?
Yeah. I
Ah,
got four more weeks to go, and I'll be back.
okay, well, maybe the
June
road,
3rd.
maybe the road crew can help us out in the interim then.
June 3rd is my last day out of the election.
Ah.
So we're coming back.
Are you willing to keep volunteering?
I will.
Okay, so maybe the road crew can help us out.
Okay, I'll tell the road foreman.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
The discussion and approval to advertise the street excavation ordinance.
Look at that, Larry. What time? Wait next meeting for that.
You wanna wait? Have you read that ordinance yet, or would you like to wait to advertise that?
This is wait.
Okay, we're waiting. We're tabling that. Okay, discuss the Monongahela Library is looking for volunteers for their board. It's somewhere in here, but the Monongahela Library, are looking for new members of their board of directors to embark with us on a journey to continue providing great services to all those who walk through our doors. So they are our library.
Don't you think Lord Dr. Canadian would be good for that?
The purpose of a library board includes financially advocating for the library within the community, helping develop a strategic plan, and cultivating a fiscally responsible nonprofit business model to secure a bright future. So they are looking for willingness, humbleness to serve without an agenda, greater good for the library, a mindset of cooperation, a greater good when working with fellow board members. They'd love, if anybody's interested in possibly joining the Monongahela Library, which is the library that serves Union Township, please stop down, or you can either reach out to us or the Monongahela Library. Moving on. Approval of bills. Discussion and motion to approve payroll in the amount of $13,170.61 found to be true and correct.
So moved.
Any second?
Second, Michelle.
So we have a motion by Parrish, a second by Clark. Roll call.
Dupree,
I'm gonna abstain. I haven't seen the payroll.
Evans Ford,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Discussion and motion to approve the bills and invoices from the general fund in the amount of, let me go back to my bill pay.
It's $49,531.13.
Okay.
49531.13.
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second, Michelle.
So we have a first by Parrish, a second by Star. Roll call?
Before we go to roll call.
Oh, I'm
discussion.
sorry, discussion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just had, well, a couple questions. For one, pop a lock for $100. Could I ask what locks we had changed and why they were changed?
I don't know.
Anybody answering that?
Yeah, I'll answer if nobody else is gonna answer. The one I'm aware of is a lock on the treasure store. That Lori said that there was entry into the treasurer's office after hours, and she wasn't around, and this applies to anybody in that position. You know, whatever work is created in there, it's work product of that treasurer. And maybe more importantly, a bonding is necessary. If you don't have a bond, you're not associated by formal selection of this board as treasurer, assistant or otherwise, then there's got to be some control.
So are you saying Lori said there was people in her office after hours? Is that what you're saying, Larry?
Is that
That's
what you
what I'm
said,
saying,
Lori?
exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So that's your personal, private office that nobody in the township is allowed to enter?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you said
You
unauthorized,
said that I wasn't
and
in there.
I don't know who is authorized and who is unauthorized. Who is
The
authorized?
treasurer's authorized, appropriately bonded, or an assistant treasurer. Appropriately bonded required by law.
Did you have any trouble with me doing the bill pays for the first 3 months, Larry?
Not that I'm aware of. I
So you
see
didn't
it.
have any trouble with that?
I didn't see
So the rule, is that a new law?
No, that's not a new law. We've followed that performance ever since I've been on this board. If you get somebody who's not authorized going into that office, and there's a serious question arises about finances, who's going to take the blame? Who's going to be the responsible officer?
So basically,
that
all
person in that
functions of this
position
township
is
shut
treasurer.
down when Lori leaves
Hey.
the office? Is
Hey,
that what we're
that-
saying?
You better start
She's
thinking about it,
responsible for it,
boy.
Is that what we're saying? That
It should
as
be.
Lori is the only employee who can operate anything in this township.
If she's the only one,
Nobody's
well, yes.
saying that.
She can't operate.
You're talking about a treasurer's office.
She's the only one. Yes.
Does anybody have a key beside Lori for that lock?
I don't know. I never had one, Charlie. I couldn't
So
tell you.
nobody has a key for that room except Lori.
Correct.
Lori, when you go on vacation, who's going into your room?
Haven't been on vacation. I just.
Not yet, but you're authorized to have one. If you become sick, who's authorized to go into that room when you're not there? And you have the only
Why would
key.
anybody need to go into that room?
Why, Lori? You're not answering the question. I am saying, who is authorized to go in that office if you are not
Steve,
available?
Linda, you were here. You authorized to change.
That's
Speak
right.
up.
We've had an executive session.
You had an executive session with who?
You guys were all here, and so was.
No, I was not here. I guarantee you. I didn't hear about it till I came back from Hershey.
Hey guys, it's
Hold
good
on,
argument.
Dennis, you were here. We had an executive session. You did leave the executive session, and maybe when you
It's
left,
a good thing for you, I did.
I will tell you, Chuck, I served on this board for 6 years. 2 years I was the chairperson. At no time did anyone on this board have a key to the treasurer's office.
Except the treasurer.
The treasurer, that's right.
Really?
You
Right.
served. How many
Exactly.
years?
All my years of 40 years, and the treasurer, the only one had the key to get in there, and they were bonded, and that was it.
And Dennis, we talked about this, and Dennis recommended it in executive session. When we talked about it, you said you saw no problem with the treasurer only having the key.
Right.
Dennis, the onus is on you now.
I really don't recall that, but again, I'm not
Why
saying.
did you change the locks rather than request the key? Why did you change the locks rather than request the key?
Because it was agreed upon then to have the locks changed.
No, it wasn't. I was here for the entire.
I was here, he was here.
There was a vote taken to change the lock.
There wasn't, it was
It's
agreed
obviously,
upon.
there was a vote taken to change the lock.
My next question is,
You
why
cannot-
was a vote taken in executive
There
session?
wasn't a vote taken in.
Oh, so now we don't have a vote either. We are not required to have a vote to exclude the chairman of the Board of Supervisors from being able to enter the treasurer's office.
It excludes the entire board
That
from
applies
going
to
into the
anybody.
treasurer's office,
Not
Chuck.
just
the
chairman.
Right.
Really?
It excludes this entire board,
Right.
which is the way it should be.
I have no problem with it. I just have a problem with y'all change the locks instead of just asking for the key. You act like you couldn't just ask for the key. Nobody had a problem with me being in that office for 4 months, doing everything a treasurer does except for printing out the checks. Nobody else had a problem, but if someone had a problem, just ask me for the key. Don't act like I'm a criminal.
So then the problem is going
Yeah.
back to the treasurer? Is that what the question is? This
Yeah,
change was made
you
at
know
the request
the
of
first
the
$1.5
treasurer.
million
Is that
worth
what
of
I'm
bill
being
pays
told?
that were paid with this.
There is no
Michelle
question.
Dupree punched them in. You want to know the passwords that she uses? Michelle Dupree created them. You want to know who operated that QuickBooks for the first 4 months? Michelle Dupree. All you had to do was ask for the key. But you had no problem with that for all of those months. So I don't know about the Second
Well,
Class Township Code as well as you do, but you knew what was happening, and
Yeah,
I just
I
didn't
knew
print
what was
checks.
happening.
I
And we're
didn't- I
gonna
just
talk
didn't print
about
them.
more what was happening.
Okay.
Another complaint, you had a primary, excellent, experienced person walk out of this township who agreed to help in serious training. And she submits in her letter, and I alluded to the language that she used in that letter.
Okay.
Why? Why? We were setting down the road to getting some of these problems corrected.
Someone want to know.
I-
I'll talk to her.
I talked to Lori yesterday, Michelle,
Well, how could you
recently.
ask Lori what Stephanie was thinking?
Will you let me finish as recently as yesterday and discuss the myriad of problems that still exist down here and will exist that need settled, that were created in some instances by the last board. One of those serious financial problems lying out there is the general fund and lack of reconciliation. And those two ladies were trying their best with the time that they had to get all these problems addressed, as many problems as they could. So we're not just floundering in the middle of the ocean, not knowing where we are financially, but they were trying. And getting some things straight. How she was concerned, and I know Judy was, when Bernie Spear was here, it was the same way.
I have a question for you. How many hours have we spent on training that she's not trained enough to use QuickBooks? How many hours? I'd like to know how many hours we paid for training. and the job didn't get done yet.
let's move
How
on.
many hours?
Dennis, I just have one question, and I don't really expect you to answer. You were probably the only person that has had a chance to talk to Stephanie or she's explained her position. Do you understand why she left? Was it clear to you? And I won't ask you to say what it was.
I won't say that. All right, let's move on. It's getting late.
Okay. Do you have any other questions on the bill pay? That's where we
There was
were
one
at.
other one that I was going to ask.
Yeah, I'd like, just real quickly, Madam Chairman. I want it understood that this township is not governed by the Municipal Authorities Code. It's governed by the second-class township code, for those who care to learn.
All right, let's get moving on. It's getting late.
Yeah, let's go ahead with
Right.
that.
Okay.
There
The other
was
one's not that
a
high.
first and a second on the bill pay.
Roll call.
Dupree,
No.
Evans Bourne,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
With only one objection for Popalock, all the other bills I am willing to pay.
motion carried.
Okay. There is no overlook sinking fund amount this meeting. Discussion and motion to approve bills for the El Rema Storage Fund in the amount of
$25.79.
Okay.
That's what it says, $25.79.
Any motions?
Yes, I'll make the motion, subject to being true and correct.
Any seconds?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Are you still including the EFTs? I haven't seen them come up for a while, like the automatic withdrawal on the bill pay.
I was never told to do that.
Okay, so if you could do that, because they have to be approved in a meeting as well, and they still got paid, so they have to be on the bill pay list. Okay. Roll call?
Dupree,
Yeah.
Evans Bourne,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Parrish,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. I guess that's it. Adjournment.
Next to make the motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
I'll second that.
So.
You would ask me.
Roll call?
Lori, Dupree,
Yeah.
Evans Bourne,
Yes.
Spar,
Which is for?
Adjournment.
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
So,
So you would ask me.
this is so you guys can
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I mean, I have, this is the plan, this is the letter that's in the first 3 pages. Basically,
Well, we're proposing $600,000.
Well, it's because yeah, the one with the treasure is supposed to handle.
February, March, April.
But so nobody else can go in the office to handle it.
Even though I was asked to.
All right, I'm gonna go eat.
We'll see.
Okay.
I was gonna say executive session, but it went on tomorrow. Yeah, let's see if it's working. Seeing if we're gonna, who's doing that. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna go.
I did.
everybody. Good night.
We have the 6-year one.
I don't know.
We just send the logs in there. I never thought.
I'll just tell you, one thing I was saying, a comment was made, and it was made in front of me. And this comment was made in front of me. We had a resident came in there, was asking for something. Aaron took him over to Lori's office.
Well, you're talking about Silas.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the whole story.
comment was made, John Lori, this is the private side of the office. You're not allowed. Last I took a look, this goddamn set of taxpayers are paying for the whole building, not just this.
Well, what the problem was, when I was told, Lori was in the middle of making up payroll. She banged through that door, so I was dragging the ass right behind her. Wait, Charlie. Asking for whatever record it was. I guess with the right to know. Lori had no idea what they were even talking about. When I learned about it, I come down and talked to her. She said it took her 10 minutes to sum it up. Said she comes busting through that door like the town next to the gang.
Have you ever seen Karen bang through the?
No, I haven't been around a long. No.
That's
But
not.
I tell you what, I was told not to vote for right from the start by somebody very close to her, but I didn't listen to them. What was the hell to give her a chance, and I voted for her. But then I heard the comment,
they're wondering where you can do that, right?
when we did the first release or whatever, didn't I tell
I
you
wanted to
so?
show you some chat that's at P steps. This is what P steps. But it's about keeping the doors for the safety of the employees.
I guess,
Well, maybe it's because I was raised in
This is 2023.
I walked through London, I walked through
What's that word?
Berlin, I walked through New Orleans.
I can't.
There's always been one in my life.
Yeah.
Here, DJ gave me
I have
Not have no access
all you
to
have to
any
do is
resident
say to
because
everybody,
private
"Would you
information
please
is not
knock on the door before you enter?" That's not a hard thing to do.
We have a buzzer for anybody to buzz.
Either way, I'm gonna mail it out.
I'm sorry, it's just, this is the most, you guys are screw up a one-time contract. Let's be honest.
Charlie, I know it's probably guilty. I know I can't disagree with,
You're the one that disappoints me the most, because I have never known.
I know you, I was
You
told
have
all
always
the time.
had the best interests of the township of heart.
Charlie,
No
I
chance before now.
have to try to strike a balance again in today's world. With all the bullshit about the cameras. You know, I listened to 2 news reports yesterday where chiefs of police involved with some of these murders and mass shootings. One of them said just recently this morning, he said, I am so glad that we had these cameras out here.
And I have no problem
He
with
said
that.
we were able to apprehend that mass shooter much more quickly. We saw him going into the Chicago building on the other side of town. He said that's why we were able to pick him up so quick.
But we've already got cameras up. Reuse the ones we got, do anything. $39,000 for a camera system is ungodly.